G Highway 2024 Kia Forte LXS $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Got a big family? Get a 2023 Kia Sorento LX $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. Plus a 2024 Kia Telluride LX $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36 months lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
And stop by and see the all-new EV9 all-electric SUV. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMTMoriah.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you for the next 3 hours. Johnny Hill back with us, producing as usual. Had some issues last week with all the ice getting from his house. Ice was bad out there, but now it's getting warmer. Streets are looking a lot better, much better than what they were even yesterday and over the weekend. So, Johnny, we're glad that you're back. We missed you.
I missed y'all too, man.
Well, we're glad you're back. But Bryant and Brett with you. Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great, guys. We are glad to have Johnny back, and we're glad to have everybody with us. As I won't call it the big thaw-out occurring, kind of the mid-sized thaw-out occurring today.
Yeah.
But it at least is thawing out, and should be out of here after a really difficult week. Johnny, glad to have you back. And I mean, so many people have talked about it, but especially in DeSoto County. That's where you live, right, Johnny?
Yes, that's where I live. It was bad, man, real bad.
I think the eye of the storm on that second blast. It was really bad. That when just the freezing rain, the first blast was bad on all of us, but it really has been something. I'm glad everybody is back with us today, and hope we have a good week and get the big thaw out. And I think it's going to be a fun week. We're down to 4 in the NFL, and
hard to believe.
College basketball going strong. The Tigers had a week they'd like to forget, like we'd like to forget the weather.
Yeah, no, they certainly did, and then now hopefully with the weather outside kind of warming up and things getting back to normal, maybe the Tigers can use this week off and get things back to normal before they go next, I guess it's coming up Sunday now, to UAB Bartow Arena and play the Blazers. But, Brett, we were saying last week, this week off came at a good time. This team really, really needed this week off.
I think so, if it is productive. How would you use this week? What do you think needs to be emphasized? What do you think needs to be done? I'm not talking about anything untoward. I'm not talking about having a week of the Junction Boys in year 2024. Not at all. But what do you think really needs to be worked on?
Certainly defensive communication. I think that's the biggest thing right now. I remember earlier this season with the Grizzlies when they had that kind of player-only practice and was said that, they had this long practice where, they had to communicate the entire time or they had to restart or whatever. I think the Tigers need to do some of that because this defense has been an issue really all season long, and it's certainly becoming a bigger issue now. But I think, just get back to the basics, defensive and communicating on the defensive end.
I think a lot needs to be worked on, a whole bunch. Do you think on the kind of the Camp Penny front, when we were talking last week of maybe really some serious instruction, do you think at the end of this week, so they'll travel to Birmingham on Saturday, and you'll mostly shut it down, not real intensive on Friday. Yeah. So day after the game today, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be anybody that goes through those practices that in a few years go, man, after we lost that home game to South Florida and lost on the road at Tulane, we had Monday off and then we had to get ready for the weekend. That Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday practice was the toughest practices I've ever been through as a college player. Do you think that'd be the sentiment?
I will say no. I wish it was, but if I was a betting man, I would probably say no.
I would be with you, and I think, again, I'm not talking about raised voices. I'm not talking about belittling anyone. But Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday should be for keeps. It should be, this is going in a really bad direction. And that's what I want to ask people that are listening. And I want people to weigh in at 901-360-8255. We do all these preseason predictions. We go down game by game and wins and losses and what's the ceiling, what's the basement, what can be attained. And I think everybody settled in. Got to get the second weekend this year. Don't have to go to the Final Four. Don't have to win it all. Don't have to go to the Elite Eight. Could get to that Sweet 16 game that Thursday or Friday night. I'm not saying lose by 40, but that game. Just get to that weekend. What are the goals now? What are the fans' goals? What's diehard Tiger fan really expect now with what's left in the season? 15-4. So we have, 12 regular season games left?
That's right, yeah.
I know you'll play at least one in Fort Worth. I dare say two. If it's one and done in Fort Worth, we really will have a different conversation. Yeah. What are the expectations now? What are the expectations at home when one of the things in preseason that I think was consensus of, okay, you can slip up at home to a FAU. Okay, good to go. On the road, lose to Tulane. Okay. But not much more than that. We were talking 16-2, 15-3. I don't know of anyone that dipped down to 14-4. Do you?
I don't remember what I had. I had it.
You had 15-3.
Did I have 15-3? 4 losses doesn't surprise me in conference play. But, there weren't a lot of people. I mean, this was, kind of that, it's going to be rolling year. And so I don't think a lot of people were I don't think anybody was
himself,
under 4 losses.
Penny himself, late October, said, we will be judged by the non-conference portion of our schedule.
Yeah.
Basically saying, we got it made in this little Humpty League.
Yeah, and that was it. I mean, it kind of,
and that's all this league is a little old Humpty League.
Yes, and so no, I think he said that. I mean, and now you're looking, some of those non-conference wins are not what they were when the schedule first came out, or even when you played those teams, and so it's a weird situation the Tigers find themselves in.
It is, and the big wins from non-conference, the SEC wins, and all the conversation of dominating the SEC. Well, here's who you dominated. Yeah. You dominated today out of 14 teams in the SEC. You dominated 12, 13, and 14.
Yeah.
You dominated 3 of the 4 that will probably make up Wednesday night at the SEC tournament, played in front of friends and family. Arkansas is 12th at 118 in the net. Missouri 13th at 127, and Vandy 14th at 236.
Yeah. So I mean,
now you did beat A&M this 5th.
Yeah, that was.
But also lost to 9th, Ole Miss at 70th.
Right. And so, I mean, it's one of those where you make a schedule, and then, you go out there and say, well, this non-conference is going to set us up, and then look what happens. I don't think anybody thought Missouri, after what they did last year, was going to kind of dip back down to what they are right now. And some of those other non-conference wins, Arkansas, another one that is really
10-8
this year. Yeah.
Arkansas 10-8.
I mean, nobody thought that coming into the season. And
if they lose Wednesday night in Oxford, Game Day has a 10-9 team in Game Day, which shows you just kind of how hocus pocus, bogus college basketball Game Day that it is. So it's football, but at least it does have the premise of being around the best game of the day. College basketball Game Day is nothing but a TV show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, by far. I was telling my brother that they were going to be at Arkansas and Kentucky next week, and he said,
why?
So that's the game they picked?
No kidding.
Because I don't even know who's playing on next Saturday, but that can't be the best game. And I go, no.
Not even close, but it's programming and Kentucky.
Yep.
And it should be, I guess fun. Okay, let's say Arkansas wins on Wednesday night. They're 11-8.
not much better. I mean,
that'd be like having the home team hosting college game day be a 5-4 team in the middle of November.
It just would never happen.
It just would never happen.
No,
it would no matter who the other side was. If it was 5-4 playing undefeated, because we know the gravitational pull to game day is the home team.
Sure, absolutely.
That's who you're really featuring.
Yeah, because those are the fans that are going to come out, and that's what you're seeing all the shots of that team, and just Arkansas would not have been my pick.
And we also, I know, having gone to 2 college basketball game days, it's a really small crowd, and it is seated and packaged, and the camera shots are a TV show.
Yes, very much.
It's almost nothing organic about it.
Right. Yeah. No, I've never been to basketball game day, but I've seen the kind of behind the scenes pictures of it and go, oh, that's what that is.
I've been to 2 here. The first one was before the hotel across the street from FedEx Forum was built, and that was kind of the TV. That's where the TV cameras and stuff were set up, looking at the front of FedEx Forum. I think that was the Tigers playing Louisville. I think. And then, of course, 1 versus 2 that was inside FedEx Forum that day, and it had about 5,000 people in the background, and all but cue cards from stage directors of, cheer.
Yikes! I mean, much different from their football counterpart.
I've been to Christmas pageants that were more organic.
Well, people love Christmas, Brett. What can you say? I mean.
But that's where it will be. So that's one of the big non-conference wins. When you go down the net and look, I don't think the net is end all be all, but I guarantee you it will get mentioned more in that committee room in Indianapolis over that week of conference tournaments. Well, if it's mentioned one time, it'll be mentioned more than the AP ranking.
Yes. No, I mean, that is something that people, they look at it. You cannot, no matter if you think it's a good metric or not a good metric.
They created it. The NCAA created it.
And the NCAA literally tells us what they look at when they are creating their bracket, and that is one of the things they talk about.
They're not going to Jerry Palm. They're not going to Lichtenhouse and Donkel Index. They say this matters to us. And I see 4 teams in the top 76 in the AAC, 5 through 14, 102 or worse.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's not a very good conference. It's just not. And Tigers,
it's not.
They're gonna get in a lot of these games where they are far and away the better team, but they've got to go out there and win the game. And we've seen them ever since the start of conference.
Brian, I don't know they're far and away better anymore. I don't trust it, and that's what I want. That's what the feedback I want today. Do you trust this team? We basically 2 months from today will be the NCAA tournament games.
Yes.
March 20th, 22nd or so,
yes.
23rd or so, 2 months from today. Do you have that same feeling of confidence today of a second weekend run in the Tigers that we all once shared?
Well, I mean, certainly not. But I think it's different saying this team is talented enough to do it. They have players that are talented enough to do it. It's the execution part of it. It's the lack of the communication on both sides that's really the problem with this team. And so, I mean, when you look around, this team is probably the most talented team in terms of players in the conference and one of the more talented teams in the country. But it's the other spots where they're really lacking, and we're starting to see that a lot more. I don't know if it's the how close these games are back to back to each other, but no, I certainly, I mean, the positivity that was around earlier in the season is not the same as what it is today.
I once agreed with everything you just said. I once thought that this team was talented. I thought it was a top 15 most talented team in the country. Well, things have happened, and some of those things, Jordan Brown now back, now another illness, another mysterious illness, the injury, and we see a very slow acclimation, slower than I thought it would be for Naquan Tomlin. and then you say, and I agreed at one time that I thought this was a lot of talent, but outside of about 4 people, who's really talented? I think David Jones is definitely talented. Walton definitely talented. Quinterly definitely talented. Nicholas Jourdain had 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
Who's talented?
Well, I mean, I think the roster is talented. I think, you have players on here that I think a lot of teams would want, especially in this conference. A ton of teams would want. And so, they have their weaknesses. And I think the bench, like you just mentioned, is one of the biggest weaknesses. I've heard so many people today talk about, well, why was this guy in? Why was that guy in? Why was this guy playing? And I think that's the biggest issue is you have these injuries, this illness that has now come up, and you're now having to turn to your bench, and those guys you just can't rely on them right now.
And here's the question: can we rely on Penny Hardaway?
It's a good question.
Can you count on him?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know, because I mean, some of these late game situations. Not just yesterday, but even in some of the games that they've won. I mean, some of those, I forgot which one it was. I think maybe the SMU win. I did not think was a great, I didn't think out of timeout. It was a great, drawn up play, but, Quinterly knocks down the shot and they win. I think, some of the late game management situations have not been great. Both
of those games last week coulda, shoulda been wins. Mm-hmm. No question. But you have SMU that coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
You have Tulsa. Ole Miss coulda been a win, shoulda been a win. Up 11 in that game. Yep. Very similar. Up 6 yesterday with the ball with 6 to go. Last week at home up 20. Up 11 at Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. But then you have, you had the Arkansas game that was close. It could have gone either way.
Yep.
Virginia Common in overtime. Virginia Common is doing their part for the Tigers in the net.
They've been playing really well, and kind of one of the few teams, non-conference opponents, that has really been doing
Texas
what the
San Antonio at home could have, should have gone the other way. I say the record at 15-4 is kind of about where it should be.
Yeah,
you could change some things, change Clemson into a loss, change Tulane into a win.
Yeah, that
change Ole Miss into a win, change SMU into a loss.
Yeah, that goes right into the kind of when you look at some of these sites that do advanced analytics and that sort of thing. I mean, KenPom I think right now has Memphis at 51. They haven't gotten the past couple weeks. They haven't gotten any higher than high 40s, and that's kind of been the reason is because a lot of these games that they have won could have gone either way. They haven't played great and KenPom looks at that instead of just looking at, okay, they've strung together 10 straight wins.
54 in the net for the Tigers. A comparison to the SEC, 7 SEC teams with a better net than that. But what's even more frightening, on January 22nd, 2 AAC teams ahead of the Tigers in the net.
Yeah.
You couldn't have convinced me preseason there would ever be a point that 2 teams from this conference would be ahead of the Tigers in the net at any point.
No.
From whenever the first net was revealed in early December.
And I think I think there's a lot of people out there that it would have been hard to convince one. Even that being Florida Atlantic, that'd be hard for some people to take. But we're going to talk a lot more about the Tigers. Text us in your thoughts on what happened yesterday in New Orleans. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, like I mentioned, we're going to hop back into this Tigers loss down in New Orleans against Tulane. Now back-to-back losses for the Tigers. Now they have a week off before heading down to Alabama to take on UAB. 3:45, we'll talk some Grizzlies as they're back in action tonight up in Canada against Toronto. Grizzlies, Raptors tonight. We'll talk a little bit about that at 3:45. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He joins us every single week, talk college football and college basketball. A lot to get to, especially in college basketball, with David Cobb this afternoon. So we'll do that at 4 o'clock. 4:30, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us, talk about the Grizzlies, what they've done lately, also their game tonight against the Raptors. 4:45, we get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, we'll talk the NFL playoffs. It was a fun weekend watching all 4 of those games, and now down to only 4 teams. 5:30, we get to what's trending at 5:45. We'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's time for the floor model sale. All floor model patio sets are priced to move. Wicker sofa set under $2,000. Closeout patio cushions as low as $25. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating under $2,000. 4-person hot tubs under $5,000. Also, infrared and traditional steam saunas, 25% off. Get ready for summer and purchase your above-ground pool now to get first in line for installation. And that special financing, it's still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We want you to check in with us, 901-360-8255, on any of the topics from the weekend. But from Tiger fans, as we have stated, what do you think how do you think the rest of the year will play out? Best case scenario, worst case scenario. Bryant, Brett, Johnny, with you until 6 o'clock. We're Sports Time, and we want you to be a part of it. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Call them at 901-334-9673. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. The one and only Lexus dealership in town. Stop by there at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, the Tigers drop back-to-back games now in conference play. We talked a lot about that loss last week against USF, but yesterday it was on the road against Tulane in New Orleans, a place that the Tigers have really struggled lately in conference play. They struggled again yesterday, and it was really kind of the roller coaster of a game. There were a lot of ups, there were a lot of downs in that game yesterday. Both teams came out and really shot the ball well, and it really felt like defensively the Tigers found something in that first half and really kind of limited good opportunities for Tulane. Jaquan Walton had a really good first half, but then at halftime, he has an injury that flared up. It sounds like a rib or back injury. He wasn't able to play the second half. Malcolm Dandridge played really, really well. He fouls out late in the second half. Injuries start piling up, the foul outs, sicknesses, all sorts of things. And the Tigers have to rely on a lineup late in the game that I don't think a lot of people thought they would have to rely on. In the last couple of minutes, both the Hardaway boys were in. Jalen Young was in the game. They had to rely on a lot of guys that
drew up a play for Ashton out of a timeout.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, guys out there that shouldn't be out there in these crunch time situations. And I think it raises that bigger question of when we were talking about this team early in the season, we were talking about a lot of guys that were really good players coming in, but there was not a ton of depth off of this bench. Now we're seeing less of depth. Jonathan Pierre wasn't with the team yesterday. Now you had the couple transfers go through. Jordan Brown couldn't play yesterday. You've got the injury to Caleb Mills, which is now sticking out like a sore thumb to this team, how valuable he was to this group. But they fall yesterday to Tulane. Now they get the week off before having to turn around and go on the road once again down to UAB.
Yes, we do. And the week off before going down there for another Super Bowl at right. UAB. A lot of Super Bowls. Top story for me, after one of the most dreadful weeks in the Penny Hardaway era. Remember, every time the Get Tubby Smith crowd, every time anything would go wrong, they would say it was the lowest point in Tiger basketball history. Well, it wasn't. Just most of them were playing T-ball about 10 years before they said that, or weren't even living in this area. So it wasn't all that. And this is not anywhere near the worst week in Tiger basketball history, but it is one of the worst in the Savior coaching Tiger basketball. In the Penny Hardaway years, it is that. Timber on everything. Most importantly, timber on the net. And for those worried about the meaningless AP poll, don't worry about it. No more than you should have been worried about it a few weeks ago. When they win this one, we demand the Tigers be in there. It means nothing.
Right.
You win games, you will move up, and the seed will show it accordingly.
That's right.
And people today worried about, where they were going to fall to. It means nothing. Lose at UAB, I can tell you where they would be in it. And lose at UAB, I can tell you what will happen in the net. Here's what they need to be worried about. Talking about I didn't think we would look up and see two teams in front of them at any point in the year in the net.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of season left. Have you taken a look at the AAC standings?
I have.
Did you ever think at any point in this year the Tigers would be 7th?
I did not. No. 7, a number I never thought would be next to the Tigers' name unless it was in that AP poll. I didn't think it would be certainly in the conference standings.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, the divisional round over the weekend in the NFL, was a lot of fun. From the first game to the last game, Ravens, a big win over the Texans. It was back and forth to start the game before the Ravens really found their groove. 34-10, they beat the Texans, but a great first season for the Texans. I mean, we cannot overshadow the year for C.J. Stroud, the year for D'Amico Ryans, just an unbelievable year for them, and certainly a great
Will Anderson as well.
Will Anderson, another really good season. That's a really good point by you. Later that night, we had 49ers with a 3-point win over the Packers, and I don't think a lot of people thought that game would be that close, but it was really fun seeing Jordan Love continue outside of that last interception. He threw a really good game for him. Lions, a 31-23 win over the Buccaneers. Still so fun seeing Detroit react the way they have. I mean, it looks like they're having
my Lions.
I'm just gonna move on to the last game, Brett, because I don't know even what to say to that. The Chiefs and Bills game, really a lot of fun. I think we all thought that was going to be kind of the game of the weekend, and it really lived up to it. From the on the field to Jason Kelce off the field having the time of his life.
I saw him drinking out of a bowling ball.
Brett.
The hell do you drink out of a bowling ball?
Brett, I'll be honest. When I saw that video yesterday, I had no idea what he was drinking after. And then, of course, this morning, John Harden saying, Jason Kelce is drinking out of a bowling ball. And I go, oh, that's what that was.
It looked like a ticking bomb.
Exactly. I didn't know what it was. I was like, I hope he's safe. Let's just make sure that it's all safe. But a really fun weekend in the NFL.
It was. That's my not top story as well. Final four in the NFL, it's set. We have 2 1 seeds, and we have the defending champs, so fairly chalky.
Yeah.
And then we have the 4th team, the Detroit Lions, my Lions. Now, for the second time in Lions history, they can say it, 1 win away from getting to the Super Bowl. Got blasted the last time, the only other time they could say it, by Washington. But now they will play for a chance to go. And if they go to the Super Bowl, that would leave only Jacksonville, Cleveland, and Houston to not ever appear in a Super Bowl. They're in that 4-person club right now. It would fall to 3, and it would be some upset if they go to San Francisco and win. They beat San Francisco in San Francisco in 1957 in the game to get to the NFL championship. Mm-hmm. So the last time they won a championship of any kind, they went through San Francisco.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, maybe we see it again. I don't know. I'm really.
I'm gonna
excited.
get me an Alex Karras, number 74 Lions jersey this week.
Do it, Brett. I mean, do it. I'd love it. Let's all get Lions jerseys. We can come in on Friday and rock our Lions jerseys. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what happened to the Tigers last night as they fell again to Tulane. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
It's the Start Something New sales event, and it's on now at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Start your new year off in a new ride with 2023 Jeep Renegade. We Gossett at $24,990. How about a 2023 Grand Wagoneer 111 4x4, $10,000 off MSRP. Plus, get unparalleled power in a new 2022 Charger Scat Pack. Your time to get $10,000 off MSRP at Gossett on the Pike. And there's never been a better time than right now for 2023 Dodge Charger SXT. We Gossett only $29,990. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Renegade Triple P 56029 MSRP 30,040. Wagoneer PS 508,331 MSRP 112,285. Charger NH 251,172 MSRP 58,020. SXT PH 508,657 MSRP 35,930. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Yo, Mark, long time no see. You still down at Dyer's?
Man, I'm not down at Dyer's. I'm out at Collierville Historic Town Square.
When'd you move out there?
We've been out there for about 13 years. We've got the shops, the park, we got the train the kids like to play on.
You still cooking those burgers the old-fashioned way?
Man, we're still flattening out those hamburger balls on a slab of marble and skillet frying them the old-fashioned way like they've been doing for 100 years.
Dude, you still have those onion rings.
Man, they're fantastic. Hand-breaded, served up just right.
I loved those milkshakes. Please tell me you're still doing those.
Man, we are hand-dipping those shakes, putting them in the old glass in the shake tin, served the old-fashioned way.
You got any new items out there I need to know about?
We're just doing a lot of gourmet sandwiches. We've got farm-raised catfish straight out of the Delta. We've got some hot tamales from Pasquale's Tamales out of Helena, Arkansas.
Man, are they served in the husk?
What those guys like to say, they're so good, you'll suck the shuck.
Go see my buddy Mark at Dyer's Cafe in Collierville's historic town square.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text JUDGE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 42424. That's JUDGE to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
At Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike, new inventory is arriving daily, and we've got what you've been looking for to start the new year off right. Get off to a great year in your award-winning 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander, $329 a month, or buy it for $29,910. Take a spin in your new 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $29,445, or lease for $449 a month. How about 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV? 420 total range MPGE, you own it for $649 a month. Plus, no worries with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or online anytime, MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
PHEV PZ062303 MSRP 44,355. Sport RU 001136 MSRP 28,000. Eclipse RZO 12051 MSRP 31,700. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of EMS calls just in the last 15-20 minutes. We're still concerned about some of these back road side streets out here. If you still see a route that's got snow across it, there could still be some ice underneath there as traffic volume starts to increase just in the last few minutes. On 240s, you get on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, they're located 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We talked a lot about the Tigers in our first segment, but we'll stay there. Yesterday afternoon, a noon tip-off on ESPN against Tulane, an 81-79 victory for the Green Wave. And now the Tigers look up 4-2 in conference, have lost back-to-back conference games. Now I have a week off before having to go on the road again to play UAB, and it sounds like it should be a really good crowd at UAB next weekend.
It looks like it will be. That game will be at 4 o'clock next Sunday afternoon when the Tigers and the Blazers renew their rivalry. I guess it's more looked at as a rivalry from the UAB perspective than it is from Memphis, although there were some hotly contested games there, and the old common denominator, of course, being the late, great Gene Bartow. 12 games remain in the regular season, Bryant.
Yep.
I'm going to set the over and under at 9.5 wins. Do you bet over or would you bet under?
9.5 wins, 12 games. I will go under.
I would go under as well. We would be right at 9-3, under 9.5. That would get us there. 9-3 right now would have the Tigers finishing 24-7. They're 15-4 now, 9 wins and 15 24, and 3 losses would be 7. I had 24-7 in the preseason. You had 23-8 in the preseason. In the preseason, you had back-to-back losses at Tulane and at UAB.
All right, just a game off. I needed to shift it to the left one.
Well, if they lose at UAB, you'll be right on.
Well, that's true, but I don't want 3 straight losses, so I'll ask that doesn't happen.
Rice at home, certified gimme, right?
You'd think so, yes.
Wichita State and Temple. Wichita State at home, gimme, right?
Yeah.
Temple on the road, I don't know if it's gimme, but it's high degree of certainty.
I feel good about it.
Home against Tulane. I wouldn't think Tulane would sweep, but I saw it last year.
You did, yeah, and that's a good point. Certainly could happen. I mean, and Brett, it's the same players that I feel like the Tigers have had issues with for the last 4 years. With
Ron Hunter.
And Ron Hunter, it's great.
Just coaches circles around Penny.
He does, and some of those players that we just list off every time the Tigers and Tulane play, and they're the guys that step up every time.
And those players for Tulane, I don't think people were knocking. Maybe they should have been to get to Jalen Forbes and Kevin Cross and Sion James and Colby King. I mean, where were they on all these big lists with all the stars? Nowhere to be found.
Exactly, nowhere.
And I hear it. Yes, that was a good to great road atmosphere yesterday. And you saw the reaction to that win by. The box score said 3,600. We'll go with that.
Sure.
We'll go with 3,600. And they stormed the court. And to the equivalency crowd of Kansas is losing and Arizona's losing. They're not losing at anything like that.
Right.
We're not talking about that being Cameron Indoor
right.
and how we have kind of turned it into that as some almost on the road at Tulsa and Tulane, you know how tough that is, and Minges at ECU.
No, don't get me started about East Carolina. I mean, I have nightmares about some of
when
those.
The rest of the basketball world laughs at going to those places.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, this is it's not a great conference right now, Brett, and they've got to be able to get up for these games, and it doesn't matter, away or home. I mean, like you said, that number is not a environment that these other top 25 teams are going into week in and week out.
Not even close. And if you can't handle that, and you can't handle that team, you're gonna have a tough time in the NCAA tournament. Now they did handle Texas A&M.
Yeah.
They did handle Mizzou. So we know it can be done. But already it's a different complexion to this team with the roster hits that it has taken.
Yeah.
It had a big addition that I still hadn't seen a lot of consistency from. I see sometimes a very detached Naquan Tomlin.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and
borderline disinterested.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, and it's just some games he's out there and you're going to get a really, really good player, and then other games he's going to go out there and not give you much and then foul out. I mean, that just seems like that's how it's gone.
He had 6 points and 7 rebounds yesterday. He ought to be able to do that in the pregame layup line against Tulane.
Yeah.
That's opening bid is Naquan Tomlin is going to get 6 and 7 today.
You're right. And, I mean, it was not a good game. Hey, not many people had a good day yesterday. I mean,
now, Dandridge had a great game. David Jones had a great game on the offensive end and then would not play defense on the defensive end.
Yeah, and that kind of
and will not play any help defense. No. He'll keep his guy in front of him a little, But if another guy beats him, or another guy gets beat, he's not going to help that guy at all.
No, and it goes back. We talked about it a lot last week. I think we talked to Jason Munns about it, I think, on Friday. But, I mean, it really seems like, this team brought in a lot of guys that, offensively, when they committed to Memphis, you go, oh, man, they're going to go out and they'll get you 20 points a game and they'll do this and that. They're great offensively. Nobody ever said anything about what they did defensively because these were not defensive guys that they brought in. And it seems like, it's good to bring in offensive players that are going to bring, but you got to have some guys that come in and are bring defense. And it doesn't seem like any, Caleb Mills was a good defensive player, but it seems like they're not many of the rest of the guys were defensive or are defensive guys.
The last time the Tigers played a team defensive game, it saved them against SMU, or they wouldn't have won that game.
You're right. And, I mean, had to have that, had to just kind of, slowly build back. And that was a scary game, Brett. I mean, I know certainly a lot has changed since then, but, I thought for most of that game that the Tigers were going to lose to SMU at home, and they were able to save it and come back. But now, I mean, this isn't, ever since the start of conference play, and it's been before because Vanderbilt was a close game, Austin Peay was a tricky game, but they just have not played well in this conference slate, and now we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games into the conference slate, and they just have not looked impressive at all.
So the rest of the schedule after Tulane, at North Texas, at SMU, kind of the Metroplex back-to-back game.
Yeah.
That could be very difficult. I don't see sweeping, and I don't see getting swept.
No, those are both going. Those are going to be two tough games. I think. I know North Texas before the weekend was undefeated in conference. They lost to Charlotte, but on the road at North Texas would be tough. SMU, I mean, you already had to have a dogfight against them to beat them at home, so that's not going to be easy on the road either.
Then Charlotte at home, the much-awaited, anticipated FAU game at home.
Yep.
Then at Minges, mere mortals can't go in there, can they?
Right. No, you don't walk
and then UAB at home, and then at Florida Atlantic on the last day of the regular season, and then off to Fort Worth. This is how quickly it goes. I mean, already down to 6 left at home, 6 on the road.
It's hard to believe. I mean, the basketball season goes by fast, especially when you get into conference play and you're playing.
And going the wrong way.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like I just said, I mean, it has been really ever since the start of the year, really the end of December, that this team has kind of started this slow process of kind of going in the opposite direction. And now with back-to-back losses, that's kind of sped it up a little bit and really highlighting a lot of these issues.
And it's amazing how a season can take these turns, these fits and starts, back to, 10, 11, 12 men. Carl Sharonfont. Carl Sharonfont, preseason AAC Newcomer of the Year.
Yeah.
How laughable is that?
Yeah, alongside with J.J. Taylor, who saw less minutes than Carl and is now transferred because he's not getting.
I'd forgotten that aspect of it. That makes it that makes it go from laughable to sad.
Yes,
That quickly. Just how are you going to play this many one ball, 11 men? Just impossible. It has a way of doing this, and it's happened, and it's done it. And it had a way of doing it yesterday where with less than 2 minutes to play, I'm going to look up the exact time, but I think much less than 2 minutes. I think maybe 1:27 to play. Tigers call a timeout, come out of timeouts, and Penny Hardaway is good out of timeouts, really good with sets and stuff, especially under the basket. But this was side out of bounds, I think side on the Tiger bench side, ran a play to Ashton Hardaway.
Freshman, it's
who's done nothing.
Yeah, he hasn't done much at all, and I don't like that. I need to go back and watch that.
Frightening.
Yeah, no, that's certainly not good, and especially if it was in the last minute and a half. I mean, when crunch time, you're trailing, you need buckets. It's not great. But
not great at all.
No, not great at all. I mean, this team has real issues, and hopefully, we said it earlier, hopefully they can use this week positively and maybe try to get back to the fundamentals. And
the Hardaway brothers are inspiring a lot of aggravation among Tiger fans about their playing time, and it's not entirely unfair, but it's not entirely fair either. Yeah. Because now, because of the numbers, I think you can see playing an experienced player like Jaden Hardaway, especially with how the roster's gotten narrowed down to. I don't see any reason how you run Ashton out there.
Yeah, no, he's other than what was that game, the Michigan game where he had however many 3-pointers. Yeah, he hasn't done much and is just very still. Everything was on the court.
Who was the play drawn up for at the Ole Miss game that they wanted the corner? The corner three. Wasn't he trying to drop a play to get Ashton the ball there?
I think it was. But you are correct.
I can't tell you one. I can't remember that
because
far
me and Connor were looking
look.
at it. Me and Connor were looking at it. It was for Ashton.
Was it late in the game?
Yeah, it was late.
I'll go try to find it.
It was late in the game.
Okay, I'll see if I can find it. But I can't rember that far back. But
I remember that play.
Very young, very raw, and is still certainly trying to get his legs in the college game. But back-to-back losses now, like we said. Hopefully, use this week positively, and maybe can turn it around next Sunday, or this Sunday, I should say, against UAB. Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, the Grizzlies, they're back in action tonight in Toronto. We'll talk Grizzlies-Raptors next.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78, that's Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. When I talk to people about selling their homes or buying one, my motto is stick to your game plan. I learned this from my friend Coach Terry Tippett. Coach, you didn't go into a game without having a plan, did you?
No, Sheldon. Having a plan was critical to the success of all my teams.
That's right, Coach. Sticking to your game plan helped you win 4 state championships.
That's wrong, Sheldon. It was 6, just like the number of shots you make on a par 3.
Well, Coach, we've played golf together. What advice can you give me about my game?
You probably need to stick to real estate, as you're much better at doing that. Or perhaps bowling.
Great advice about real estate, not bowling. And as I always tell people, if they're thinking of selling their home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and let me be one of them. As they often say, when you want the job done, Coach, who should they call?
Sheldon, of course.
You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, serving the official barbecue of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Let's make this the new year to drive your new Kia home from Gossett Kia on the Pike. Bobby J's waiting to put you in a new Kia today. So come hit the road with 41 MPG Highway and 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or get 7 passenger seating in a 2023 Kia Sorento LX. We Gossett at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And if you want your new ride to be a 2024 Kia Telluride LX, we Gossett at $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Kia today, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21590. Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33010. Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38705. Concludes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
So how you like me now? 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 How you like me now?
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. And the Grizzlies, they're back in action tonight against the Toronto Raptors. 6:30 tip-off for them as they're on the road, coming off a loss over the weekend in Chicago against the Bulls. Now back-to-back losses against the Timberwolves and then against the Bulls. But back in action tonight. And, I think we all know what these games have become for the Grizzlies. But I am excited to see what they can do tonight against a Toronto team that have had their own struggles this season.
They have. Toronto just 16-27. Yeah. While the Grizzlies enter tonight 15-27. Toronto nationally favored at home. They were just here and put it on the Grizzlies here, and they're favored there, and that will be the last time the Grizzlies face the Raptors this year. And you're right. We do know what we face with the rest of the year with the Grizzlies, and it's pretty grisly. It's pretty grim.
Yeah. No, it is. And, when you're looking at, the starting lineups that are being rolled out there and who you've got coming off the bench, it's just not much. And we know the injuries. We know why it's like this, but I don't think you have many expectations when you're watching this. And I think if you can take the expectations out of it, it's kind of fun watching these young guys play and seeing what they can do, because this year has turned into kind of a developmental league. Or year, not league, good Lord.
It has. It has definitely turned into that, and it certainly should, and I think will, and probably de facto has insulated Taylor Jenkins from any job insecurity. I don't think he could be judged off this disaster. And I look forward to, in about a little less than an hour, visiting with DeMichael Cole in Toronto, covering the Grizzlies for the Commercial Appeal, the beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. What do you think of the injured players on the road trip?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't really have one. It's weird to see, I guess, but I don't have really one way or the other.
I wonder why. I wonder how often that other teams do that. Most of the front office brass on the trip, that's not unusual.
Right. Yeah, it was a little odd, but
and I wonder if they stayed on the trip. I wonder if they'll be there tonight.
That's a good question.
And for the Miami game on Wednesday night.
That's a good question. I don't know. But I like seeing them all there. I like seeing them, engaged with these young guys, and it's fun to watch. And
look out though with the way the luck's been this year. Look out for somebody flying into the bench area.
Oh man, Brett.
No kidding. I mean,
you're right though. I mean, with the way our luck's been going this year in Memphis, I mean,
it's been that kind of year.
It really has. But, that game over the weekend, the Grizzlies lost 125-96. But you look, Jaren, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. An okay game for him, 1 for 7 from 3. Vince Williams and Luke Kennard both had 14 apiece. We got to see a little bit of Scottie Pippen Jr., who was just signed
in Chicago.
In Chicago, which I know he kind of went to social media afterwards and talked about how that was a really cool experience for him, not only to be in an NBA game, but also for that game to be in Chicago.
His dad is a legend.
Yeah, I mean it's just really cool to see that. But the Grizzlies really struggling outside of that. So we'll see what they do tonight. On the road in Canada, Canada, and here in less than an hour we'll talk to DeMichael and see what he thinks we'll see tonight against the Raptors. Last time was a loss at home when this team was more healthy, and there was different thoughts on the season, and Toronto came in on that back-to-back. I think it was right after they played the Spurs, and the Grizzlies lost that one. So we'll see if they can maybe get a win here on the road in Toronto. But that'll do it for our first hour. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we're talking some college football. We're talking some college basketball with David Cobb.
From brilliant to beautiful, we've heard lots of words used to describe the Sissy's Log Cabin experience, but we think one sums it up best: extraordinary. Here, you'll find an unparalleled selection, impeccable service, and an experience that makes you feel like family. Shop online at sissyslogcabin.com or stop by one of our 6 locations. Find your trusted jeweler for a lifetime, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at LawnSolutionsInc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go. So Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000 or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. 2 final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
Let's make this the new year to drive your new Kia home from Gossett Kia on the Pike. Bobby J's waiting to put you in a new Kia today. So come hit the road with 41 MPG Highway and 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or get 7 passenger seating in a 2023 Kia Sorento LX. We Gossett at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And if you want your new ride to be a 2024 Kia Telluride LX, we Gossett at $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Kia today, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590. Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33,010. Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38,705. Concludes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We still have some slick spots out here, so be careful on some of those roads that could still be covered with snow and ice. Traffic still moving right now on 240 East. We just checked it from Mill Branch all the way out to 385. A little bit of volume from time to time coming off the interstate over here on I-40, getting on to Austin Peay Highway going outbound. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David Cobb joins us now from CBS Sports to talk college football and college basketball. He joins us now. David, thanks so much for joining us. And we got to start about the Tigers. Now, back-to-back losses in conference play. Last week, it was at home against USF. Yesterday afternoon, it was on the road against Tulane. What have you seen over these last couple of weeks from this Tigers team, and how concerned are you for Penny's group?
Yeah. Hey, Brian. I'm more concerned about you. How are you doing, man? And how are all the people in your group chat? So,
Not great.
I know. Yeah, this Tigers spell here has got to be taking a toll on the good folks in Memphis.
Yes, it is. Believe me, you would not want to see the conversations I have to have with my friends now.
I'm sure I can imagine. The one, I mean, in some respect, you understand a road loss at Tulane. Right. I mean, Tulane's a decent program, and you go on the road. And so, okay, you can kind of understand that one. But what I just can't understand is blowing a 20-point lead at home to South Florida. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's it's the compounding effect of losing at home to South Florida and then losing at Tulane. Because a loss at Tulane on its own is not catastrophic, but when you lump it in with the blown lead at home against South Florida and then some of the other struggles leading up to that South Florida game, it really feels like, you know, you look at Memphis right now and you see, I think, 15-4, and you still see them in the AP poll, And if you zoom out, it's like, okay, well, that's not so bad. But I think anybody who's watched them over the last 3 weeks or so is right to be concerned. And Penny's not hiding from those concerns either. He seems to be pretty upfront about what he thinks is the problem and the chemistry issues. And so I think, yeah, absolutely. You got to be concerned because going into the weekend, they were like a projected number 4 seed in most of the bracketology. And then here at CBS Sports, our Jerry Palm, as of today, has them all the way down at number 7.
Wow.
And so you're talking about a seed and a half per loss in the AAC right now. That's just the reality. And the Tigers, if you think about it in that respect, they only have a couple of losses left before we're talking about them on the wrong side of the bubble. And that's just not a position we thought they would be in here, heading into late January.
David, I don't know the composition of this year's selection committee. I don't even know who the committee chairman is going to be this year. But and we know it sometimes can be it can be inconsistent. The Tigers better hope if Selection Sunday was today, they better hope they have a committee that looks at AP, that looks at 15-4, and really doesn't do their work.
And the other thing, Brett, that could really help Memphis is if the teams that Memphis beat in November and December start to get their act together. Because when you beat Missouri, it was like, okay, wow, we just went on the road and beat an NCAA tournament team by 15 points.
On a football weekend Friday night, they beat Mizzou.
Yeah, but then Missouri has turned out to be one of the worst teams in the SEC. Same thing with Arkansas. Really impressive in the moment to beat a team that has been to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament 3 years in a row, to beat them on a neutral court. But Arkansas has turned out to be right there with Missouri at the bottom of the SEC. And the list kind of goes on there. I mean, Clemson and Virginia, in the moment, wonderful wins. But those two have really struggled in the weeks since. So it's like all these wins that we thought were great wins for Memphis, by no fault of their own, have sort of turned out to be fool's gold. And that really hurts them. And maybe it gave Memphis a false sense of bravado that, okay, like we are a heavyweight. And it was easy to be fooled by that because it's not like Penny knew when he put this schedule together that all these teams were going to turn out to be trash. It's just the way it worked, and that's an unfortunate reality for Memphis. And so they're kind of being exposed now for not really maybe being as good as November and December made them look initially.
How much do you, when you look at this Memphis team, I think the biggest thing for me at least, especially defensively, is the lack of communication. You're seeing too much of guys just getting wide open and kind of, they're not communicating on screens. They're not really doing any communication at all defensively. Have you seen that? And what do you think the biggest, what's the biggest thing that goes into a team and their lack of communication?
Well, it's the fact that they haven't played together a whole lot.
Yeah.
Naquan Tomlin, who you expect to be among your highest impact defenders, is still very new in this program. I mean, defense has been a major part of the program's DNA under Penny Hardaway. I mean, they've consistently ranked among the better defenses in the country during his entire tenure for the most part. And this year, especially in the second half of these games recently, it just hasn't been there for them defensively. Because you look and it's like these last two games, you kind of go through the offensive signs. It's like, well, David Jones is still getting his points, right, and shooting the ball effectively and efficiently from the floor. And Memphis hasn't been lights out offensively, but it's definitely the defense that's been giving them troubles. And then also I'll say this, like when South Florida went zone in the second half the other day, I mean, Memphis just looked lost against that zone, because so much of their offense is predicated on one-on-one, dribble drive, pass and kick, that kind of stuff. And when you go zone and that isn't something you're used to seeing, it really throws a wrench into things. So the offense isn't totally absolved of blame in that scenario, but it's definitely the defense. And I don't know what the answer is, but he's got to get them to a point where they're really taking pride in the defensive side of the ball. And I don't want to make excuses, but like Caleb Mills was a pretty good defender, and so
that's accurate. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but they've got to get get past that because there's too much depth, too much talent on this team for us to start going to the well of using injuries or Jordan Brown as an excuse. Like, if this roster was constructed to withstand some of that, and at the moment it just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I bet you Ron Hunter and South Florida both would trade rosters.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Memphis has I would say it has a better, more talented roster than FAU. FAU has the advantage from the standpoint of, like, all these guys are in year 2 or year 3 or year 4 under Dusty May and have played together. But if you're just going off raw talent, then Memphis is the most talented roster in the league.
How many SEC coaches, if you got the truth out of them, would trade rosters with Memphis?
It's close. I mean, okay, let's take all the sort of intangible stuff away in terms of, is this guy a good locker room guy, or is, that kind of stuff. Let's throw all that.
We know Arkansas took one Memphis didn't want.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I think Must would trade rosters with anybody in the country right now.
I do too.
If you think things are getting dicey in Memphis, I can only imagine what the Fayetteville Hit That Line show is like right now. They are ready for baseball season in Arkansas.
Omaha Hogs, and we know how that always ends.
It's funny, I was there a couple of years ago, and Arkansas wasn't, but there in Omaha, there was a whole bunch of Arkansas fans who made the trip anyway. But
it's a great marketing. It's a great marketing plan that's just never won anything. Omaha Hogs.
I know, but I think Memphis has a roster that is on caliber to be would be on caliber to be a top half of the SEC type of roster. They're just not getting it done, and this is the bed Penny made when he waited so long to get it together, and you can't altogether blame it on the lack of continuity and the unfamiliarity and the egos and all that, because go look at Kentucky. They were in the same situation.
It's a world we live in.
Didn't know who was going to be on that team in mid-June. and they didn't even get Trey Mitchell until after Bob Huggins got fired. And Antonio Reeves was trying to graduate in July and go transfer somewhere else, and it didn't work. And, we didn't know if Aaron Bradshaw was going to play at all for them. And now they get Big Z eligible in, late January. So Memphis, they just can't use that as an excuse. I mean, I think it explains to a certain extent the struggles that they're having. But, when you got a team like Kentucky that's in a similar position and thriving, it's kind of a dud reason for why they've struggled so much.
And better than that, David, kind of more extreme than that, in the preseason, in the halcyon days of September and October leading up to the season, any question, public, private, any reference, any allusion to chemistry, it's just perfect. You just wouldn't believe how great it is. This is, this is the biggest, happiest family ever until we get in a huddle with 2 minutes to play. By his own words, by the coach's own words, he said yesterday at the 7-minute mark, it was starting to come apart after being pretty good all weekend.
Right, and I don't know how you explain that or where you go from there to get this thing better, but there is still time to get it better. I mean, that's the beauty of college basketball, is that a bad stretch doesn't sink you. UConn lost like 5 out of 6 at one point last season and ended up winning the national championship with one of the most dominant March runs you'll ever see. And when you have a roster as talented and as old as the Memphis roster, you don't give up hope, but they need to find some answers. Mm-hmm. And I would have to think that this week will be one of those soul-searching weeks of practice where Penny really pushes them pretty hard. But it's on him because he's in year 6 now, and we're kind of still waiting for that breakthrough season. It's been steady, it's been consistent, but this was kind of supposed to be the year where things where there was some rocket fuel, and it certainly felt that way early on. But they got to find that again, and I don't know what that entails or what that looks like, but there's no excuse to be dropping consecutive games in the AAC, and certainly not in the way that they lost to South Florida.
Yeah. Talking to David Cobb from CBS Sports. He joins us every week, talk college football and college basketball. You just mentioned Kentucky, and now Big Z, who one of your peers over at CBS Sports, Matt Norlander, called the Croatian sensation in his debut the other day for Kentucky. What SEC team has impressed you the most? You've got Kentucky, this young roster that we all had questions about in the summer on how would they come together. You've got Auburn, who in conference play has won every game by double digits. Tennessee is looking good with Dalton Connect. I mean, who have you been most impressed with since the start of conference play?
To me, it's Auburn, because they're not just beating people; they are bludgeoning people. I mean, and Tennessee and Kentucky have had their moments of doing that as well. But Auburn's 11-game winning streak, every game in that winning streak has come by double digits or more, and a lot of them have come by 15 or more, 20 or more. I mean, Ole Miss isn't terrible, and they went down to Auburn the other day and just got hammered. So what Bruce Pearl is putting together, the depth of that team, it's a team without a true superstar, and maybe that ends up being their problem in March. But you could say the same for Kentucky, too. Both Auburn and Kentucky are just deep with really good players, and they're playing together. They're playing fast. They're both fun to watch. And in fact, Tennessee's becoming that way, too. So those top three in the SEC are all really good right now. But to me, I think I go Auburn partially because of how unexpected it was. I mean, you go and look at the preseason predictions. Nobody had Auburn as a top 3 or 4 team in the league, and they are clearly that and more. So there's an intriguing 3-team race developing between Auburn, Kentucky, and Tennessee that should be a pretty good contest in the SEC.
David, I'm listening to the Ole Miss game Saturday night, and David Kellum's doing his pregame setup with rosters, and he's, for Auburn, coached by Bruce Pearl in his 10th season at Auburn. And I thought, there's no way that can be. I knew it was right, or David wouldn't have said it. But how did that happen? How did we get to 10th year of Bruce Pearl at Auburn?
I don't know. It's amazing, isn't it? I think about this all the time. This has become like a trend that I think about, is like programs like the Auburn basketball program, the Ole Miss basketball program, the Mississippi State football program. You even go to the Ole Miss football program. They are kind of hitting outside of their weight class with the caliber of coaches, because in every instance there was some sort of a blemish, right?
Gotta take a chance.
And so for Bruce, it was coming off the show calls. Things ended so terribly at Tennessee, but that opened the door for a dormant, bad basketball program like Auburn to get a really awesome coach. And kind of the same for Ole Miss basketball with Chris Beard and what happened there. And then like Mississippi State hiring Jeff Lebby. I think Jeff Lebby would have already been a head football coach somewhere else if not for his association with Art Briles and Baylor. And so for Auburn, it was just the perfect circumstance and a great example of how it's who's going to go and hire Will Wade, because he's got McNeese State at like 16-2 right now, and he's clearly still got the ability to coach. So what kind of low-lying, struggling program is going to say, you know what, we're gonna do it. We'll take the heat, and we're going to hire Will Wade. It's amazing, but Bruce Pearl's just an awesome coach, and I mean it's pretty wild when you think about that. We're getting close to 2 decades now of him being a major player and character in the SEC.
We know Ross Bjork has left Texas A&M for Ohio State. I don't know who they're going to hire as AD, but if that new AD that maybe gets hired in the next 6 or 8, 10 weeks decide, I want my guy in for basketball, what you think A&M could get enamored by Will Wade?
I think somebody will, because the stigma, like Ole Miss has sort of made it okay, right? Like, okay, well, nobody really got too mad at them about hiring Chris Beard, and what Will Wade is accused of doing was only against the rules. It wasn't violent. It wasn't, whatever. So, like, I could easily see a program like Texas A&M talking itself into Will Wade. I mean, he might get McNeese to the NCAA tournament this year, and that's in year one under at a program that just hasn't done anything really ever. So I would actually at this point be surprised if Will Wade isn't a power conference head coach next season.
Wow.
David, when you used to would let yourself think about what is it going to look like someday when Nick Saban does step away? Well, he did. And when you were thinking about that, some of the things you thought would happen, wouldn't happen, what's the thing that has surprised you the most that's happened since his announcement and subsequently the hire of Kalen DeBoer?
Well, I think it's just how chill Nick Saban seems in life after football. I was watching the final round of the American Express golf tournament yesterday.
Me too.
and Nick Saban comes on there on the phone from Jupiter, Florida.
Yeah, like the president calling.
I know, and he's talking about how the amateur kid who won it from Alabama was like giving him putting lessons and stuff, and I'm like, Nick Saban is living his life. Like, there was a part of me that always thought he would really struggle to let it go, and that he would meddle or interfere or unretire or something.
It ain't football season yet.
Yeah, well, that's true. But he's plenty happy just chilling down in Jupiter, Florida. I guess playing 36 holes a day. I don't know, but
David, how about that kid shooting 60 on Saturday? 20 years old. Look, all of us at 20 were playing in four-man scrambles that we didn't shoot 60 in that.
I know, that was insane. That was super impressive. Sure was. Playing, not only that, like he was playing in a group with Sam Burns and Justin Thomas, who are two
SEC
really
All-Stars.
Right.
Yeah. So to come out on top from that group was whoa. Didn't expect that, but yeah, I mean, and then the other part of the Alabama question or equation, it hasn't surprised me, but it's amused me to see their fan base react to the exodus of talent. I actually talked to a couple of Alabama fans today, and I was like, yeah, you guys are going to be okay. Like, it's going to be all right, I promise. This happens to a lot of programs, even some that don't lose their coach, lose all their good players. And they manage. Next season always comes around, and they'll find a way to win some games. It's going to be all right.
Yeah. Well, what have you made of this? People are calling it kind of the connection between the Alabama and Ohio State, where it seems like a lot of these guys transferring or decommitting and finding their way up to Ohio State. Caleb Downs, Julian Sayin, two of the guys that have already committed to Ohio State. What have you made of the job Ohio State has done this offseason, especially in the transfer portal?
Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, Ohio State, they've got to be ranked higher than Michigan going into next season, especially if Jim Harbaugh leaves, because it's McCarthy's leaving, and Corum is gone, and Roman Wilson is gone, and a handful of their best defenders are gone. And, next season, I don't want to say a rebuilding season, but I think Michigan fans need to prepare themselves for 9-3 or 10-2, which is it's a great season for a lot of programs, but based off their recent success would be a downturn or a rebuilding year. And Ohio State is building itself in the image of Georgia and Michigan. And what I mean by that is not only did they land Quinshon Judkins from the portal, but Travion Henderson's coming back. Yeah. So now they're going to have two of the best running backs in college football in the backfield with a quarterback in Will Howard, who isn't really an elite passer. So to me, that signals that Ohio State is going to try to get physical. They're going to rely on
like Michigan.
Exactly. Because the last three national champions in college football are a whole lot different than 2019 LSU or 2020 Alabama. Those teams won it by airing it out with elite quarterbacks, great wide receivers. Ohio State tried to do that, and they failed. And so now it's on Ryan Day to figure out a new way to do it. And I think the roster he's putting together is going to be a smash-mouth, physical team, unlike any Ohio State team of Urban Meyer's tenure or certainly Ryan Day's tenure.
David, I felt it. It was very slight, but you could feel it moving a little back to a little more run-oriented, a little more line of scrimmage, and not just the SEC touting line of scrimmage football. In fact, some others were moving quicker to it than the SEC. I really feel it now. How much do you think the change in the clock last year had to do with it?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. It's easier to bleed clock. You watch NFL games sometimes, and the fourth quarter goes by like that.
Sure does.
Because of the clock rules. And college is kind of moving more in that direction. And, yeah, I don't know exactly why the smash mouth physical style has risen back to the top of college football, but it has, and it's adapt or die, and that's what Ohio State is doing. Because if Ryan Day fails to at least reach the national championship game next season, I think there's going to be a large quantity of Ohio State fans that are going to want him gone. And so what he's doing is trying to emulate, what has worked at the very highest level of the sport.
Back to back, Big Ten national champions. David, I can't live in that world. I can't do it.
I know that would be.
It's not right.
But Nick Saban's gone. I mean, maybe it's a new day. I think Kirby Smart's the best coach in college football, even better than Jim Harbaugh still, I would say. But with Saban out, I mean, that kind of shifts the balance of power a little bit.
Yeah. I won't recognize the champion if that happens.
Well, we're moving towards a world where maybe the SEC and the Big Ten will just sort of do their own thing, and then maybe I don't know what that's going to look like. The next generation of college sports.
David, we're short on time, but a good story out there about the NFL buying college football or investing in college football and just making it the college football league. You have the NFL and you have the CFL, and I'm not talking about the one with 3 downs.
Yeah, right. Well, are we getting to a point where you're not even going to have to be enrolled as a student, or maybe the requirement is that you're enrolled in 1 3-hour credit course, and that's all? I'm kind of afraid that college football will soon be played of people who are not enrolled in college.
Cardale Jones was ahead of his time. He said he didn't come there to play no school.
That's right.
Yeah, sure did. Well, David, as always, a ton of fun. We'll do it again next week.
All right, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, David.
Thank you. David Cobb from CBS Sports on college football and college basketball. Look, we're all ready to get out, and we're starting to get back out. And our restaurants need the support after what they've been through the last week with having to be shut down and the water issue. 2 great locations for the commissary. Give them the support. They deserve it. The new Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, perfect for a big group ready to get out and get among the living again. Memphis barbecue and ribs done the authentic Memphis slow-cooked way. If you're craving an easier way to order, you can do that. You can text commissary right now to 33733. Start that barbecue feast with the great appetizers like the smoked chicken wings, the tamales, the cheese plate, or the barbecue nachos, invented, created in the early 80s by Walker Taylor and his team at the Germantown Commissary, now a staple of everything. If you're starting to make plans for the big game, keep that in mind. Keep the Germantown Commissary barbecue nachos in mind for your game watching party of the big game coming up soon. Dig into the ribs or the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a plate, on a sandwich. All the sides, beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread. You can even order it by the pound, or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. For any game watching and enjoyment and going out, you can have it at the commissary with the 2 great locations in Collierville at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Save room for dessert. You can get those to go as well. Lemon icebox pie, the strawberry cake, banana pudding. Here's the number, 901-754-5540, or go online at commissarybbq.com. In Collierville and Germantown, the party areas, orders to go, tailgating, catering, for any season, it's the commissary, 901-754-5540, or online at commissarybbq.com.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we're talking the Grizzlies with DeMichael Cole.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We all appreciate luxury. We love the newest technology. We want something that sparkles and looks great. Well, I've got it all in one place. It's called Genesis of Olive Branch, right at the corner of Highway 78. That's Lamar. And the first exit in Mississippi, that's Craft Road. Turn left and you will see Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, you can get the 2024 Genesis GV70 starting at $49,480 with special financing as low as just 3.49% on select models. How about the 2024 Genesis GV80? A little bit bigger, starting at $55,995, financing as low as 5.49% with a $2,000 rebate when trading a luxury brand. Call them. They'll even bring you a Genesis at your work or your home for a test drive. They're convinced that when you drive a Genesis, you're going to want one. Call 662-890-6684. Ask for Vinny. Genesis of Olive Branch.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year, it's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats. All shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. We've also got lab-grown diamonds of the highest quality at prices way below what you see at other jewelers. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge, fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2024 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We're seeing some flashing lights here. They're calling it police activity in the Midtown area. I'm talking about 40 eastbound over here in Jackson. Again, it's really interrupting that traffic that was trying to get out of Midtown on 40 east at Jackson as we check it out live. Pretty good delay down through here right now. Traffic's on the increase at times on 240 getting on to 385 Billmore. Parkway going outbound. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging online, tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk the Grizzlies, the Grizzly beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, DeMichael Cole, joins us now. DeMichael, are we speaking with you from Canada? Are you in Toronto right now?
No, man, I'm not up there. I'm not in Toronto. But I'm back in Memphis.
I am curious, though, with all of these road trips, I was just thinking about it because the Grizzlies are on the road. What is your favorite? Do you have a favorite road spot that when you see it on the schedule, oh, we're going to Golden State, or oh, we're going to Miami. Oh, I love going there. It's my favorite road trip. Do you have one of those?
Man, I got a few. I'll say my favorite is it's an easy one, but it's probably L.A.
Yeah.
Because I'm still experiencing all what to do out there. You got some good eats out there, but of course I like going back to Philly, visiting people I used to work with. But then like Texas is good. Houston and Dallas.
Yeah.
Love both of those.
And Toronto, I'm glad you didn't have to fight that one.
Man.
But rare to Michael that we were colder last week than Toronto.
Yeah, it's wild, right?
Really,
I mean, the weather's been something serious, man.
Sure has.
On this road trip, do you know that the injured players, do they stay on the road trip, or was that just in Chicago, or were they in Minneapolis? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a kind of a player thing, but for the most part, a lot of these guys are going on the road trips, and like Desmond Bain, I expect him to kind of be with them, throughout the road trip. Same with Derrick Rose, who's working his way back and whatnot. So I think those guys, not necessarily probably Steven Adams, like I said, it's case by case, but for the most part, especially when they get home, like you'll see John Morant around a little bit more. I think when I wrote about it, when he got the surgery, on his shoulder, the good thing about him was, his legs are fine, so he'll be able to, move around, decently well and be able to kind of support his teammates from the bench.
How big is it for these veterans to kind of be around as much as possible, even though they're out with injury, but be around with all of these young guys, coming up from the G League or just, being at the end of that rotation, now having to play key minutes for this team? How big is it to have Ja Morant, Desmond Bain around to kind of be able to, be with these guys while they're going through the kind of trials and tribulations of an NBA season?
Oh, it's huge. For one, they have the respect factor. When those guys say something, you got to listen, because Marcus Smart, he's going to challenge you, and he's not going to stop until you get it right. He's not going to be one of those people, I said it a couple times already. Maybe I should leave him alone. No, Marcus Smart's going to bobby. He's going to get under your skin, and he doesn't care, because the goal is to make you better and to make the team better, as a whole. So, you got those guys, and they're all vocal, they're missing a lot of their vocal leaders. Ja being out, Dez, all vocal guys. So I think it's going to be a huge help, to a Vince Williams, to a guy like Gigi Jackson, to have those guys around. And I think even from a record standpoint, I don't know what it is now off the top of my head, but I know the Grizzlies won their first 3 games where Ja was on the bench and didn't play. So I don't know if there's a direct correlation there, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
DeMichael, who has the most to gain by this rest of the year audition?
Who has the say it again, Brett?
Who can gain the most? Who really needs this more than any other player on the team to really go out and show what he can or can't do?
It's the 2022 first round picks to me. It's David Roddy, it's Jake LaRavia.
Yeah.
You can say Gigi Jackson, but quite frankly, I think based on where he is in terms of a guy who was 18, drafted at 18, and just turned 19, and what he's done in the G League, I feel like, quite frankly, personally, he has done himself enough to kind of warrant, his future on this team up to this point. Of course, you want to see more, but we're not questioning whether he's going to be on the roster. Whereas Jake LaRavia and David Roddy, you got to see some improvement, And when I say improvement, I'm not talking about, they're smarter now. You need to see better production. For example, I know, the Grizzlies have this let it fly mentality, get these 3-pointers up, but David Roddy has been a below average 3-point shooter in his career. See him taking a lot of 3-pointers with 16 seconds on the shot clock, 12 seconds on the shot clock. A lot of times where you can probably move the ball a couple more times and get better shots. And it's not his fault. Again, it's to the point that the Grizzlies, this is the way they play. But at the same time, from a developmental standpoint, you need to do one or two things. You need to become a above league average 3-point shooter. which is probably the harder one, being that I know for a fact he shoots a ton of three-pointers, and he's a very hard worker. But maybe it's just not happening for him right now. But B, when David Roddy gets downhill, he posts up those smaller defenders and things like that, he has success. So do more of that. Jake LaRavia, it's availability. He's out still probably a couple more weeks right now. But we've seen the talent. You see it in spurts in the G League. You see it in spurts when we were out in Vegas, in Utah, during Summer League. And he has to put it together because those guys, you've invested in them. They still have value. It's probably not crazy value, but they still have value. And the reason that value is important because that's going to be the deciding factor whether we see them on the roster next season or not.
Certainly want to be fair-minded about it and get to the end of the year, and they sure have had a lot of really bad luck thrown at them. I want to be upfront about all that. But maybe at the end of the year, this might be a better question when you join us in April, DeMichael. But what do you think at the end of this year will be the big stinging indictment definition point on the Whiz Kid front office?
Man, it's going to be like if this is a prediction. This is a prediction, right? Okay. I will say that it's going to be the fact that no one still has gained much confidence in the second tier of young core players.
That includes Zaire.
Yeah.
Yes, that includes Zaire. And honestly, that includes Santi Aldama. I mean, I'm willing to,
Truth. Yeah.
Santi has been good for the Grizzlies in a lot of stretches. Don't get me wrong. And he is a proven above league average three-point shooter. But when I watch Santi, I see so much talent. Yeah. But I haven't seen it put together enough. And it's kind of getting concerning because, he knows he needs to get stronger, and we haven't seen it the last couple of years. I think it was going into his second season. He told me, my goal is to get stronger this year. And year 3, you're still seeing, 6'5" forwards bulldoze their way in, to the rim in front of Santi, and he's not blocking or altering the shots because he's not strong enough yet. But I think, that's going to be the question. You're still going to have the questions about which of these young guys can best support, Ja Morant, Desmond Bane. I mean, we know what you got in Vince Williams Jr., but who else is going to be the one when we talk about at the end of the season? It's like, I have full confidence that after a full offseason, this is going to be a guy that's going to be a very plus impactful rotation player. Yeah. I don't think anyone can confidently say that about, David Roddy right now, Jake LaRavia, Zaire Williams, Santi Aldama. I don't think you can confidently say that about any of those guys at this point.
Yeah. Talking to Michael Cole, he's the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. The trade deadline a couple weeks away, and I with all the injuries, I don't expect any big trade that I think a lot of people were hoping for or thinking about earlier in the season. But do you see this front office doing anything around the deadline, maybe with assets or facilitating another trade? Do you see this front office being active at all, or is it absolutely nothing around the deadline?
I see some activity.
Okay.
I do it, and I don't think it'll be anything groundbreaking from the standpoint of, how some of the teams that are in contention will operate.
Right.
But it's simple. Let's just look at the roster layout and be honest. The G.G. Jackson situation. Mm-hmm. Sure, the 50 games probably won't be a factor this season, but at some point he's going to have to be rostered.
That's right.
More than likely because I believe he'll have to be rostered at some point, and that can happen after the season. But the point is, you have to start clearing way for the 2024-2025 roster to take shape. That includes draft picks. That includes potential free agency pickups. And if you look at the Grizzlies roster right now, most of these guys are under contract, not just through the rest of this season, through next season.
Yeah.
The only player right now who is scheduled right now, contract-wise, to go into free agency once this season ends is Xavier Tillman Sr. That's it. Derrick Rose, since he's on a minimum contract, that's the easy one that you could say, thank you for your service, Mr. Rose, and go your separate ways. So you might as well say he's on, expiring contract. But the only player who is actually on an expiring contract, as when the Grizzlies play their 82nd game of the season, and if they're not in the playoffs, Xavier Tillman will be a free agent. So right now you're talking about one open roster spot you know the G.G. Jackson situation has to be addressed. So let's say G.G. Jackson, hypothetically, takes up the roster spot of Xavier Tillman Sr. So that's 15 roster spots right there. But you still have a first-round draft pick. You still have a second-round draft pick. You still have potential free agency moves that you're going to make. So the point is, some other guys are going to be shifted around, and that all brings me back to the trade deadline. It's very possible that the Grizzlies get ahead of this, make a couple moves, maybe bring in an expiring contract, and send out, a guy like we just mentioned, one of those wings, Zaire Williams or, LaRavia or Roddy, whatever the case may be, simply because those guys are under contract through next season, and you need that roster flexibility to sign that first-round pick or to go out and get that impactful free agent if that's what the Grizzlies choose. And it could be other guys, being traded. We saw the Grizzlies trade Tyus Jones as he entered the final season of his contract. Steven Adams will be entering the final season of his contract, as a veteran player next season. So basically, those are kind of the players, the names that I'm looking real closely at as we get to trade deadline season, because it's very possible that these moves could happen after the season, before free agency and before, the draft, right after the draft and whatnot. But the point is, if you look at the roster landscape right now, the Grizzlies can't just stand pat and say, we're going to bring all that, like it pretty much they did last season. You can't just bring everyone in and just say, we'll add, a Marcus Smart and a Derrick Rose and we're good to go. They don't have the roster space to do that right now.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. It's going to be interesting to see what the Grizzlies can do tonight on the road in Toronto against the Raptors. But DeMichael, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Always a ton of fun, and we'll do it again next week.
All right, appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thanks, DeMichael.
Thank you, DeMichael.
DeMichael Cole from the Commercial Appeal, the Grizzlies basketball beat writer. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There have been times when all seemed dark, when it seemed night would last forever. Souls wandered the earth in search of something satisfying, something fulfilling. And then, when all seemed lost, dawn broke, and it was sunrise. At last, the people had their dream realized. They could have not just breakfast or lunch or even 11sies, but they could have them served fast and fresh and made just for them. At last, at long last, the cock has crowed.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more. Up to $100. Ends 2/10. Visit staples.com/print for details.
All 650 acquisition fee, Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590, Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33,010, Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, happy
Happy New Year, dude. Hey, what's happening over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Let's start the new year off right in your new Kia with 41 MPG Highway 2024 Kia Forte LXS $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Got a big family? Get a 2023 Kia Sorento LX $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. Plus a 2024 Kia Telluride LX $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
And stop by and see the all-new EV9 all-electric SUV. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMTMoriah.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, I love my big number today. I'm really excited about it. It's a date. Is that acceptable?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it is 2/3/2004. So February 3rd, 2004. On that date, a very significant date, LeBron James played in a basketball game.
His rookie
year, and scored 12 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds for him. So a really good game. I mean, as a rookie, a really good game as a rookie for LeBron James. Something else that happened on that night, February 3rd, 2004, Scoot Henderson was born. They played each other last night in a basketball game.
That's amazing.
A big number.
Good job, Brian.
LeBron James scored 12 points. Scoot was born. Last night they played each other.
Incredible.
That. The length of time LeBron James has, for one.
I thought you were going Nick Dunlap's birthday.
Well, I could have gone that as well. That could have been a really good one. I'm sure it's around the same. And I actually do have a Nick Dunlap big number. If you want me to.
What are you holding back for?
I mean, what am I holding back?
Stop holding out on us, man.
No kidding, Johnny. That's what the people came for.
I know this one isn't as good. That's maybe why I held it.
You think you go see Elvis and he doesn't do Love Me Tender?
Maybe I built up in the wrong order there, Brett. I apologize. My second big number is 1991. So another year. Last night, Nick Dunlap became the first amateur to win a PGA Tour event since 1991 when Phil Mickelson won the Northern Telecom Championship. It's a long time since an amateur has won. But also a long time that LeBron James has been in the NBA and dominated the NBA.
I don't want to get too far out in front of this, but here's what I think Nick Dunlap's future looks like.
Okay.
He announced today he's pulling out of the tournament this weekend at Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
He was already in that. Mm-hmm. He's pulling out. I'm sure his head's spinning. And no, you declare before you enter the tournament. Mm-hmm. You don't win and then go, yeah, I'll take the check. It doesn't work like that. The runner-up gets the check, just like when Scott Verplank won at Butler National at the Western Open. Jim Thorpe was the person that got the check. Jim Thorpe, who could put on a show on the driving range back in the day at the old Danny Thomas out at Colonial. But he's going to play at Augusta National as champion of the USAM, and that means on Thursday and Friday he will play with John Rahm, the reigning Masters champion. He will play as an amateur, and then I think he will declare that Monday after the Masters his professional status. What about an amateur winning at Augusta National? Remember, the A&M Aggie last year scared people until about 12 holes to go on Sunday.
He did.
I think I still owe Doug Bell a beer on that. I don't think I paid off this year when he was in town.
Oh man, we'll have to get him this year.
Because I texted him that Sunday morning. I said, I can't even remember the kid's name now.
Sam something.
I can't even remember his name. I said, he's going to be around at the end. He went, not a prayer. Bet you a beer when I come to town.
That's great.
And he wasn't. Sam Bennett, and he wasn't close. No. My big number is 182.
Okay.
Now when you see Coach Hardaway's record out there, it says 122 and 56. Well, that doesn't equal 182, but he's been here as head coach for 182 games. Those games earlier this year. Yeah. I don't know who got those wins. Did Rick Stansbury get them? Or
great question, Brett. I have no idea.
Are they just into the ether anyway?
Floating in the cloud, Brett.
Penny's been here for 182 games, and in that time, Memphis basketball, with him as head coach or whoever, has gone 126 and 56. Through 182 games, John Calipari was 126 and 56.
Wow. Are you serious?
Through 182 games, Josh Pastner was 134 and 48.
Wow.
We know that after that point of 182 games, that's when Cal took it to Pluto and Venus.
Yep.
We know after 182 where Josh took it.
Yeah, on the downturn.
I'm not expecting the Cal run, but I'm not expecting the fall off the earth run of Josh either.
No.
I mean, we're at the fork in the road.
Wow, that's a really good big number, Brett. I did not realize all of those numbers. That's incredible.
I promised magic today off the air to y'all on big number, didn't I?
I mean, you talk about Nick Dunlap's head spinning. My head is spinning now.
Mine is too.
You should have seen me doing all the adding with on my fingers and toes last night.
Late night adding.
I spent a lot of time at college basketball ref.
Oh, I love
Thank you, Johnny.
Ref. Man.
Hey, man.
I love college basketball ref.
It's great. It's beautiful. It's got some good stuff on there.
Yeah, it does.
I love all those ref sites. I saw a story on Twitter about the guy that runs them. Basically out of his basement small shop.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a really small shop.
Wow, and does an unbelievable job. I mean, if I'm looking at stats for anything, anybody, that's where I go.
I live at them.
Yeah, that's where I got my LeBron James stats from his rookie year in 2004.
Well, I'm glad we're giving Mr. Ref all his credit.
Shout out Mr. Ref. Does a great job, but that's a really good big number. I mean, that fork in the road, which way will it go?
Here we are. We're at
it. It's hard to believe. Wow, that was really, really good, Brett. But let's go ahead and get to a break, wrap up this second hour for us. When we come back to start our third and final hour, we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs, everything that happened over the weekend, the matchups that are now set for this weekend in the conference championship games. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go. So Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000 or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. Two final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelge and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop, here on Sports 56. Real sports talk.
Let's make this the new year to drive your new Kia home from Gossett Kia on the Pike. Bobby J's waiting to put you in a new Kia today. So come hit the road with 41 MPG Highway and 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Or get 7 passenger seating in a 2023 Kia Sorento LX. We Gossett at $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. And if you want your new ride to be a 2024 Kia Telluride LX, we Gossett at $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Kia today, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590. Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33,010. Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Baby, here I am, I'm a man on the scene. I can give you what you want, but you got to come home with me. I forgot some good old loving.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We spent a lot of today's show talking about the Tigers for good reason. Back-to-back losses. A lot going on with Penny Hardaway's program right now. But it was also a busy weekend in the NFL as the NFL playoffs continue to roll right along the divisional round over the weekend. And Brett, let's just start from the start. Let's start from the beginning of the weekend. Texans and Ravens was the first game of the day on Saturday. Kind of kicked us off in the mid-afternoon. And for most of this game, it was very back and forth and kind of trading shots. And I thought both teams looked really good. But in that second half, Ravens, it was almost like they went to the locker room
Lamar,
and they said, come on, guys. I mean, we can dominate this team. And they showed it in the second half.
I think they had a little rust.
Yeah.
And Houston had played and had the big win, and it took a little, couple laps around the track to really get the kind of the sweat flowing good, and it got flowing.
Sure did.
Baltimore's a team to beat, aren't they?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
What next week, championship games, open day, so 3 Mondays from now. And I'm not putting this on him because, remember, we said, or we kind of consensus, we agreed, just get to a conference championship game for Lamar.
Yeah.
That's improvement over the career.
Absolutely.
We know the 1-3 was kind of hanging over him. Well, he's done that. I don't want to move the goalpost.
No.
Don't want to move him on Penny Hardaway in the preseason. Don't want to move him backwards either.
No.
And Lamar's kind of attained that. But they're the team to beat. 3 Mondays from now, we should be talking about the Ravens as champions of football, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I think you're right. And, this team has been one of those teams all year that people said, this team could be very, very dangerous.
But no searing indictment if they're not. It's the NFL.
No, not at all. I mean, every team has the best players in the world on it.
But here's something for the Ravens now. They did not play Kansas City in the regular season. But they did play and blasted both Detroit and San Francisco.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, I think everybody remembers that San Francisco game as kind of that when, Brock Purdy, people were saying, could he be the MVP guy, and then goes out there and it was just a turnover, filled disaster of a game for him and the 49ers, and made the Ravens look really, really good. And now for Lamar Jackson, I mean, I think did everything you wanted to see him do in that game. You talk about kind of the disappointments in the past playoffs, but, throwing the ball 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions on the ground, 100 yards on 11 carries and 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, what more do you want from Lamar?
This isn't the Ray Lewis, T. Suggs, that secondary. Oh man, Ed Reed, just what a player. beautiful player. McAllister. This isn't that Ravens defense, but it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's really good defense. And shout out to Arthur Maulette. I heard them call his name a couple of times.
Yeah,
he's been playing really well now with the Ravens. So no, this is a good defense, and they've got a really good offense. And Lamar Jackson has weapons that I think he's used really, really well. And I think you're right. I think this Ravens team is the team to beat. But Brett, on the other side, and I said it earlier with my not top story of the day,
and I agreed.
I mean, you cannot discredit at all
what
Houston has done this year, and that building block that they have now, laid the foundation for this year. I mean, I'm excited for what this team can do next year.
D'Amico Ryan's showing that he can really be one.
Oh yeah,
he could potentially be one of the the greats, how fundamentally sound they are. They need a little more weaponry to go with C.J. Stroud. They're like a lot of people. They need one of these hot shot, big time wide receivers coming out of college or in free agency. They've got to get that right. They probably need a little more in the offensive line. I mean, both of those things I just said, 32 teams. So, we need that too. And biggest thing they need is sweet test of time, a little seasoning for C.J. Stroud and for D'Amico Ryans and for Will Anderson. But how Christian Harris played, how they tackle.
Yeah.
Huston tackles like they work on it.
Mm-hmm. No, they are really good, and that defense is really good. I know a lot of people have been, C.J. Stroud has been the story of the season for that team, but their defense is really good too. You mentioned Will Anderson, who has been having a heck of a rookie year on that defensive side. So, this team's going to be really good. You go into this next offseason, you kind of try to fill some of those holes through the draft and through free agency, and we could be talking about a Texans team that is not kind of the surprise team and look at this young rookie coach, rookie quarterback. They could be a team that people are saying we don't want to see those guys in the postseason.
And that makes it tough on the Titans because that's in that division with you got Jacksonville and Houston that are definitely ahead, and the Colts are everybody's ahead. So it was a good win for Baltimore, and now they host the AFC Championship game. I felt a little sorry for Troy Aikman. I'm sure somebody handed him the note, and he was trying to read it and talk and think all at the same time. And he said, first time Baltimore will host a conference championship game since 71. That was the Colts, and they won. And then later he said, and then later defeated the Raiders in the Super Bowl. It wasn't that at all. It wasn't. They defeated the Raiders in that game, and then defeated the Cowboys in Super Bowl V in the Blunder Bowl when it was just a turnover fest.
No, but you're right. I'm sure someone handed them and said, "Read this," and then just all over the place.
The X Twitter just waiting to pounce on Troy Aikman and Joe Buck.
Oh yeah, they're looking for the smallest thing, and even those small things that you wouldn't think is an issue, they try to make it an issue on social media. Social media is really a terrible place, Brett. When you really think about it, it's not a great place at all. But the second game on Saturday, 49ers and the Green Bay Packers, another really fun game.
It was there for the Packers.
21. It was there for the Packers. A couple mistakes here and there. They just kind of gave it up to the 49ers.
They looked young late. Jordan Love, the first 2.5 quarters was fine.
Yeah.
Now, those 49er linebackers, man, aren't they something?
Man.
And Dre Greenlaw from Arkansas played high school at Fayetteville High, and a great program.
Yeah.
What Fred Warner and Greenlaw can do to you can make you look bad in the fourth quarter.
They can make anybody look bad. The best teams in the league they can make look bad. I love Fred Warner. Fred Warner, his brother played for the Showboats. He was here a lot in the spring watching his brother play, and so you'd be at a Showboats game. You go, oh my gosh, there's Fred Warner.
Star-studded crowd between
literally.
Doug Peterson and
it really was. I remember we were at a game, me, Connor, one of our friends, and we're sitting there, and I'm watching the game, and Connor hits me in the shoulder, and he goes, "There's Fred Warner," and I look up, and this was before I knew his brother was on the team, and I go, "Oh my gosh, it's Fred Warner!" And it was like nobody realized it was Fred Warner, and Connor was like, "Should we like go up and say hi?" And I was like, I don't know. But it was cool, and he was at a lot of games, and same with Doug Peterson. He was at a ton of games, and Doug Peterson, I don't think he ever stops coaching. I think it's just the look in his eyes.
I don't think they can.
He's always coaching and always trying to see what's going on in the field. Really cool, but no.
Brock Purdy was there to be had. There was one clear return for an interception if the Packers catch it, and another one. I know that the story is Packers youth, and I know they're thinking, this time next year we'll be right back in it. It was there Saturday.
Brett, it really was. And, what the Packers had done the week before, making, a road game in Dallas look easy, look like, they were supposed to be the team hosting. And,
Did it make you feel any better or worse? At any point you go, the Cowboys could be here and could be playing this kind of game? I didn't get that feeling.
I didn't. Maybe it was I just wasn't. I wasn't trying to feel that. But no, I mean I've always been kind of a Packers supporter to slightly. I've always loved their quarterbacks, and so it didn't crush me. I did want Green Bay to win very badly, but it's just mistakes here, mistakes there. That last interception by Jordan Love, it was just like every single you're not supposed to do as a quarterback. He did on that one play. Everything that could have gone wrong as a quarterback from a fundamental standpoint went wrong, and it's just
And the dang kicking Carlsons from Auburn. They never miss in college.
No, they do not.
Anders misses Saturday a very makeable NFL field goal.
Yeah, and I mean that's
in that weather.
Yeah, and that's a huge difference. And then the Green Bay's getting the ball back in a tied game, and Jordan Love doesn't feel like he has to take those chances that he was taking, and throwing those type of balls, and maybe
you could run a little draw, you could run a little middle screen.
Yeah, maybe it's a different outcome. But I think after seeing that, I think people, Detroit fans should feel pretty good after seeing what the Packers were able to do. Maybe we can go in.
Detroit and the Niners did not meet this year, nor did Kansas City and Baltimore.
Yeah.
But both of these games did not meet in the preseason either, for what that matters. Well, it matters in Baltimore. Preseason
That's true. They're going
matters
out there to
there.
win, Brett.
But then it led into Sunday this year, and I don't take it to the bank like I do with the college rushing numbers. But now through 10 NFL playoff games, the team that wins the rushing battle is 8-2. The team that wins the passing battle is 4-6. Wow. So even at playoff time, and come Super Bowl time, it's 80% historically in the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I'll have to remember that. That's
and I think one of those, there's been a couple times, but one I think was at Super Bowl V where the Cowboys outrushed maybe by a yard Baltimore.
Wow. How about that? I love that. No, I love when you bring those numbers up, Brett. They're interesting.
You can take it to the bank in college.
Oh, absolutely. Ever since I've known you, Brett, I've been keeping up with it.
You got to know pregame who's going to win the rushing battle.
Well, yeah, and then I need the crystal ball to be able to tell me that. But no, Sunday we started the day Detroit and Tampa Bay, and it was just another fun day in Detroit. 31-24 win for the Lions.
31-23.
23, excuse me.
Because Todd Bowles, inexplicably. I mean, what was it? Who called up the 2-point play?
I don't know. I've had several people come up to me and say,
"What's it get you?"
I think there was a little something to that. I think there was they were trying to.
Well, it helped me if something because I had Detroit -6.5 against you in our picks.
You did.
But I think Todd Bowles was just pressing the situation. He should have just kicked the field goal. There was no need for that at all.
I think he knew what the gambling line was there, Johnny.
Wow.
He probably did.
Bold accusation.
I mean, that's what people have been telling me, Brett. That's not from me. I'm just the messenger.
Our picks, I was 2-2. You were 0-4.
Was I really? Holy cow. Well, I had a good start to the season.
Our straight-up picks.
Okay.
Our straight-up picks, just to advance in the tournament. And we're going to talk about the late game here in a second.
Sure.
And we're going to talk more about the Lions, too.
Yeah.
But just to advance in the tournament. I'm 7-3. You're 4-6. And I don't know why we let Johnny play with us, but we did, and we're not going to again if he's going to play this unfairly. 9-1.
Wow.
Johnny, you don't get to play with us next year.
You don't get to finish the playoffs with us. I mean,
they kicking me out.
Yeah.
9-1.
9-1. That's incredible. I told Brett on Friday that I wish I had asked you for your picks when you were out, so that I could have just copied them, and I should have. Even when Brett was saying I should have asked him to tell me Johnny's first.
Only game you missed so far, straight up, Johnny, just advancing in the tournament, is your beloved Cowboys.
Wow. And I'm sure I'm going to be blamed for that. We're going
to. You are to blame. You are to be blamed for that.
Johnny's going to go, hey, your Cowboys just couldn't get a win.
You are to blame for that.
Thank you, Johnny.
But it's fun watching Detroit. I'm for Detroit unabashed. But the line needs to form for apologies. I'll get in it to Baker Mayfield.
Oh, man. Absolutely. I mean, the job he has done this year, and it was not his best game on Sunday, but I mean that Detroit's defense, they can get in the backfield and make it tough for any quarterback. But no, Baker's been great this year.
One guy,
I'm scared of what San Francisco can do in the passing game if they get any receivers well for it, because now Detroit did a good job. Brian Branch is great.
Oh, he's
in
really
that secondary
good.
for
really
Detroit.
Good. Yeah.
And to see Dan Campbell, they were that close to hosting NFC Championship game.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I mean, I've been impressed with Baker, but yesterday still 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked 4 times. You would not think still threw for almost 350 yards,
Sure
349 yards. That's really impressive.
But the Jared Goff stat line, all those plays, 0 turnovers.
Yeah, incredible.
70-something plays, is that right?
Yeah, and passing attempts, 43 passing attempts, and no interceptions, no turnovers at all. Only sacked twice. I mean, that offense for Detroit has been really, really good.
Now, he needs that kind of game to pull the upset at Levi Stadium.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a tough task for Detroit this week.
Aren't we all Lions fans, though?
I am now for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I love the Lions. I love the story of it. Hey, I seen history. I never seen them win a playoff game.
I mean, we're all
that 88-year-old man hadn't seen it, Johnny.
I witnessed history,
It's
Brett.
new for all of us. I mean, this is incredible what's happening. But no, I mean, I really do like this Detroit offense, and I think they can do something against San Francisco, and
if they win Sunday and win the Super Bowl at the same time the Pistons stay in this spot they're in, they will have won 4 postseason games, and the Pistons won 4 games all year. But here's one that's really
3 more weeks, Brett.
Here's one that's really cruel.
Oh no!
With the advancement into the championship game,
here we go.
They will have played in more NFC championship games in the 21st century than the Cowboys.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you.
Hey, man. Hey, Brett, you saying a lot right now. I don't think you can handle it.
That's
Brett.
rough, isn't it?
No,
Brett, but we're here for Bryant. We're here for Bryant.
That's right.
We're here for Bryant.
Yeah.
I got the tissue.
Yeah, you got the tissue.
Thank you, Brett.
And I haven't done it. I wonder how many different NFC teams have made the championship game in the 21st century. And the Cowboys. Well, 3 out of the 4 in the East. Washington hadn't.
No.
Now Detroit. Now Green Bay. Minnesota, they did with Favre. Chicago did with Jay Cutler. Which, can you believe that? Well, Chicago in the 21st century played in the Super Bowl.
That's right.
So far only one. Tampa Bay, they have New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina. Oh, Brian, the Cowboys are the only one because Arizona has. Oh man, I didn't realize that when I started this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brian. Doesn't sound like we've really been there for him, Johnny.
Hey, we're here for him. You got the tissue
I
on
hate to
standby.
see us not here for you, Brian.
Really? I mean, when y'all decide to turn y'all's backs on me, let me know.
Please let me know.
I mean, because I want to be prepared for
Oh, Brian,
that.
I'm sorry.
Good
I didn't even
Lord.
realize it.
Oh man.
Hey, Brett, as long as you got the tissue on standby, we're all good,
See,
man.
here's the thing, Johnny. I had seen someone bring up the same stat in making fun of Cowboy fans on social media earlier, so I was prepared for that. I was not prepared for every other team has, but not the Cowboys.
That's a great stat, though, Brett. I love it.
Let's take a look at the AFC.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Buffalo, they have.
Uh-huh.
Miami, have they been in an AFC championship game?
I don't know.
I
hope not.
I don't think so.
We would have to look it up.
Had to check on that one.
I'll look it up. Why not?
Jets, yeah, with Sanchez.
Oh, they
Mark
did.
Sanchez.
They did.
Oh yeah.
Hey! You sound very excited, Johnny.
New England definitely, Baltimore definitely, Cleveland no,
Yeah.
right? Cleveland no.
No, they haven't made it.
Yeah, Pittsburgh yes, Cincinnati yes, Houston no.
Okay.
Jacksonville yes, Colts yes, Titans yes.
Oh, that's a lot.
Kansas City yes.
That's a lot.
Raiders yes.
That's a lot.
Denver and the Chargers yes.
Ooh, Brian.
Two or three, and 2 or 3 or 4 total. Wow.
The Dolphins have not.
Okay.
It looks like.
So Miami, Cleveland, Washington. And the Jets have. They have.
They have. Yeah, they have.
Oh, wow.
Miami, Cleveland, Washington. Ooh.
I'm glad the Cowboys are in the same boat as the Washington Commanders. I love that.
See, I'm going to get to it in crunch time. I'm going to crack on the Bills. I think just NFL fan bases, Washington's more beaten down than even the Bills.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Bills have had success. They just they didn't get there. And Washington, for that 60-year-old plus Washington fan, and that was the town. It was the only thing that would unify the swamp is pulling for hail to old DC for Washington for football and going to games at RFK and Joe Gibbs and those teams. They've been terrible a long time and had a number done on them by pure slob in that owner.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been bad. But maybe they're turning it around. Sounds like this new owner.
And had to go through the whole nickname thing.
Yeah, that wore a lot of people down. But now they got
it did.
Now they got Magic. I mean, maybe Magic can bring some magic.
Sure could. Sure could.
Know.
And if he can get that stadium built basically there by DC Armory, by where RFK was, he's worth bringing into the ownership fold just to do that.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And I think that's his mission number one.
I think so. And I think he'll do it. Brett, before we run out of time, let's get to this last game
Classic.
of the weekend. Oh, unbelievable. Kansas City, a 27-24 win
Special
over
teams
Buffalo.
cost Buffalo.
Sure did.
The fake punt, the missed field goal.
Yeah, fake punt.
Difference in the game.
I don't know what they were doing there. That was just
I don't either.
a terrible play call.
4th and 5. They did that.
It's crazy.
And got 2.
I mean, you couldn't have just thrown your offense out there and
that's
had
exactly why I said
better chances. I mean, I get like the surprise attack of, oh no, they're running a fake, but
nobody was surprised because when DeMar Hamlin came in as the fullback, it was assigned to the work. And Johnny, I mean, they have 19 people watching that. You know, got a different fullback in there, got a different up man in there.
Yep.
It just spoke for itself. Then he gave away the play by him going back and forth in the motion in the backfield.
Sure did.
Gave it away.
That was awful. And then the missed field goal, of course, was tough for them.
And credit to Kansas City. I mean, 6 straight.
Well, and Brett, I'll be honest. I was wrong. I was wrong about this Kansas City team. I thought that they had taken a couple steps back. And I think a lot of people thought that. And now, look, they're 1 win away from being the Super Bowl.
That.
I think so. And, it seemed like everyone was kind of together on, this Kansas City team is not what they were. And now they're 1 win away from the Super Bowl.
If Patrick Mahomes gets a Super Bowl championship this year, Brady's on blast.
Really is. I mean,
because you've won it with not your fastball at all,
and some receivers that I think a lot of teams could do without. I mean, I don't think anybody's going, oh, we wish we had the receiving core that Kansas City has right now.
If you're ready to drive a new Silverado into 2024, we've got the place for you. It's All-Star Chevrolet. Down Highway 78, your first exit into Mississippi, that's Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there. And All-Star Chevy, they will take care of you with financing down to 1.9 or up to $7,500 back in cash, and you can get another $2,250 with your trade on select vehicles. What a way to start the new year. You'll love all the new All-Star Chevy Equinox and Trailblazers with financing down to 1.9, no payment for 90 days, 3 months, no payments. Your good credit deserves it, and you'll get it at All-Star with all the friendly people down there. Drew DePriest and his great team down there. If you want a certified pre-owned Chevy or any pre-owned, they've got them. All-Star's loaded. Lots of pre-owned Silverados, Tahoes, the Traverse with the third row seat, so we all can do more together. Jeeps, Broncos. If it's not on the lot, ask Jeff, and he'll get it there in a hurry with all their contacts. Kevin and Jeff and everyone at All-Star want to wish everyone a happy and healthy 2024. We've survived the ice storm. Remember, it's not South Haven, not Mount Moriah, Bartlett, or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
So we've got the conference championship game set now in the NFL. Chiefs-Ravens over in the AFC. Lions-49ers in the NFC. I really like the Lions' chances this weekend.
Oh, I hope so. I'm for the Lions, but if we won't have a new champion out of anybody in the AFC. Won't have a new one overall. Won't have a new 21st century. Mm-hmm. We can get all new in the lines, and we can get a new 21st century champion out of the 49ers.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of fun. And I think this AFC championship game, Chiefs-Ravens, I mean, that could be one of the better games we've seen in a really long time with how both those teams
and those quarterbacks.
Oh, man.
That's classic stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be just a masterclass of everything.
And in the NFC game, you've got number one pick in Jerry Goff against Mr. Irrelevant. Number one against the last pick.
Thank you for reminding me that. I'll have to keep up with that. I mean, can't forget about that. One versus last. I mean, that is incredible. So it's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Both those games this weekend, we've been running Saturday, Sunday, but both those games will be on Sunday, 2 p.m. for that first one, Chiefs-Ravens on CBS, and then 5:30 for the NFC Championship game over on Fox. Before we get out of here, out of this segment, I got to remind you of our 5 o'clock hour. Our sponsor for this hour, Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean, on the historic square in Collierville since 1961. Charles Hall, he started working there in his teens, and now with his wife Laura, they own the place, known for all the boots, but also clothing, accessories, and a cap for any team in any season. They've got Western wear, but they've also got boots, all types of boots, work boots, safety toe, soft toe, rubber boots, boots for every single occasion. You can find them at Hewlett & Dunn. And from head to toe, they have you covered with every brand imaginable, whether it's Ariat, Dan Post, Anderson Bean, whether for men or women. They've got so many different type of clothing options too, like jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, outerwear, and the best duck head collection you'll find. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville or to their website, hewlettdunn.com. If you're in need for accessories, they've got you covered on that as well. Hats, sunglasses, boot care products, in every area, team snapback or cool hat you can think of. Tigers, Mississippi State, UT, Ole Miss, the Razorbacks, they've got it. And for travel, their bag selection is top notch. You can go online, hewittdunn.com, but please head out to Collierville, give them a visit, and say hello at 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville at Hewlett & Dunn. Well, let's get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. Schedule your holiday gift deliveries today at hogsfly.com.
At Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike, new inventory is arriving daily, and we've got what you've been looking for to start the new year off right. Get off to a great year in your award-winning 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander, $329 a month, or buy it for $29,910. Take a spin in your new 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $29,445, or lease for $449 a month. How about 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, $420 total range MPGe? You own it for $649 a month. Plus, no worries with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or online anytime, memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
PHEV PZO 62303 MSRP 44,355 Sport RU 001136 MSRP 28,000 Eclipse RZO 12051 MSRP 31,700 includes all rebates and incentives PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do.
Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com. At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Once again, here are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? If I'm alive and well, will you be there holding my hand? I'll keep you by my
Well, Brett, we got a little less than 30 minutes left in today's show, and I don't like cornering you. I don't like demanding an answer.
Johnny, this is where I think I'm going to get cornered, and the answer is going to be demanded.
Yeah, I feel the same way,
especially after us being there for Brian.
Yeah, we're still here for him.
I am curious, though, in all seriousness, because earlier in the show, and we will not talk about what stat you found when we were at a break. We're going to keep that to ourselves. But earlier in the show, when we were talking about the Tigers, you asked me this week, what do the Tigers work on? What is the one thing they have to work on? And you said a lot of things. If you had to say 1 to 2 things that they have to fix, have to work on, have to spend the majority of this week on, with this kind of off week-ish, what would you say they have to work on this week?
I put in the zone defense.
That's right. Wow. I like that.
This is the week that I put it in, and I don't know that I spring it on people the rest of the conference play, but I might some, but I have it ready, especially since the inability to switch and help defense in man-to-man has been so abominable, and that has not been the calling card of Penny Hardaway's teams at Memphis. His first thing you could count on, they're going to play defense. They're going to get belly button to belly button. They're going to guard you butt low, and it's going to be tough in that offensive end. It just hadn't. It's people driving to the rack just straight line. Another thing I would do, and this is a at least a 1990s thing that I don't know that you can do anymore.
Okay.
So we hear so much about team dissension, and some guys don't want to talk to other guys.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how they live. I don't know how they eat. I don't know anything about it anymore. But I know used to, and they all lived at, I think, South Hall, and all ate at the same place. This would be the week. Okay. So Bryant and Johnny, y'all aren't getting along. Guess who the new roommates are? So-and-so, you move out. Bryant, you move in. You're moving in with Johnny.
I like it.
We're going to see how bad you don't get along. And when we go eat, when we're sitting at the table, you get to sit by each other all week.
I like
and when we get on the plane or the bus, you got to sit by each other all week.
I like it. I like that. You're going to be friends.
Don't know if you can even do that anymore.
I don't
Nah,
know
you
if
can't.
can.
You can't. Not in today's time. It's
No.
sad. It's sad, but you really can, especially. Not saying that
I've seen that done.
Yeah.
Really?
It needs to be done.
Great. I mean, that's like something out of like a movie or something.
The chemistry's off.
So you don't like each other, huh? Well, you go either learn to like each other, or you're going to tear each other's eyes out.
Yep. Well, something's got to give, Brett. Something's got to give. No, you're right. And I think the zone defense is a really good one because Brett.
And to anybody out there that just laughed at that notion, laugh away. I'd rather do that than see my season slip sliding away.
Well, that's another good point.
Because that's what you're getting doing it this way.
Mm-hmm. And I really like the zone idea because you're right. I mean, we talk a lot about the lack of switching, the overcommitting, the whatever. Brett, one thing, you just mentioned it, one thing that we haven't brought up is just how many of these guards are getting completely blown by off the dribble.
The effort level's low.
The effort, I mean, I'm seeing guys go straight to the rack, and they're not even getting contended on the perimeter at all.
And with Jordan Brown back, I think you could go big on the back line with what Malcolm Dandridge has shown he can do around the cup in man-to-man, just with his defense as shot-blocking presence. Maybe try to go to a 2-3 zone, not as primary, but I put one in to have it as kind of a freak defense to throw at people occasionally, especially if they're just sitting out there shooting set shots, corner 3 zone. And yesterday Tulane, I think they end up making 10 threes.
I think so. I think it was 10.
I'd bet you half were corner 3s.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I mean, and that's what kind of this entire season has been. It's been the drive, kick out to the corner. You've got a guy just standing there, feet already set, and drills a 3. So, I'm curious to see what Jordan Brown can do. It sounds like from everything I heard that he, kind of wanted to, have some practice in with the guys before he really got going. And I think a lot of people expected him to play yesterday, but didn't go. I'm sure we'll see him against UAB. But Malcolm was awesome yesterday, and that cannot be said enough.
He was, and really a great year.
Yeah.
After being, the invitation to return came late.
Yep.
Here's another one. Here's another time that we heard chemistry off the charts. The August trip. Where'd they go?
They went to the Dominican Republic, right?
And played against David Jones.
Played the Dominican Republic national team. That's
We started hearing from that point on, just as good a chemistry as you can. I mean, just happy as you, one big happy family. And now we're to this, and it feels like that it could blow up even more. I saw something over the weekend. I don't want to make too much of this or of that, and that being the Jordan Brown illness. That we all know there was no illness.
No, not at all.
And I watched a report this weekend of someone, and he described Jordan Brown's return to the Tigers after vague reasons for being away from the team. It wasn't vague at all. What would be the opposite of vague? Direct?
I guess so.
Expressed?
Yeah.
It was directly said he was sick.
Yep.
It was no vagary to it.
No.
And we know that was a whopper.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sure, maybe you had
like we know the team chemistry is great.
Yeah.
Is now a whopper.
Yeah, because this
like we know during COVID, 100%. Now it's really 90%. Get up to play a game against Tennessee, and it's 2 reserves and a walk-on.
Yeah.
Whopper.
Forget about that Tennessee game, Brett. Everything was great.
That
2 hours
went a long
before-
way to destroying the playing relationship, certainly as long as Rick Barnes is coach there.
I mean, that was massive to it. I mean, that was a huge blow to it. I mean, fans are already in the arena and they cancel it. Crazy. But you're right about, I don't know. It's been a mess. And I think you're right. I think, like you said earlier about the kind of how does the coaching career, do you go more towards Cal or do you go more toward Josh
Fork in the
Pastner?
road.
But I think we're at a fork in the road for this team in terms of chemistry. We've heard it's bad, but like you just said, I think we could be going down a road that's
Macro, micro forks.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
a lot of forks in the road. Yogi Berra famously said, when you get to a fork in the road, take it.
A lot of forks.
And here's another thing. I know we're short on time, and I don't want to overdo it on this. The constant simmering discontent cannot please the fans with Ryan Silverfield, but yet, and I know Penny Hardaway's place in Memphis sports lore.
Sure.
But we're into 6 years of coaching. Yeah. We're not talking about coming back for Penny Hardaway retirement number ceremony anymore.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned it earlier. I saw somebody on social media. I can't remember who it was that was pointing this out. But it seems like with Ryan Silverfield,
can do no right.
Well, exactly, and he's winning games and he's beating the teams that are on his schedule, and it's like, oh well, look who you're playing. And then kind of on the flip side, the Tigers are losing to USF and Tulane, and people are making them out to be world beaters. And
we make road trips to Tulsa and Tulane sound like a cross between the Bataan Death March and playing at Cameron Indoor.
Right, and so it's interesting that both playing about the same type of teams and
frankly,
different results.
Neither drawing very well.
No, not at all. And we know the numbers. We've heard the numbers, and Brett, we go back to earlier in the season when I was at a game, and the number that was said was certainly not what I saw. And we're seeing
please don't make me get the scan counts out.
No, Brett, too early. I mean, season's not even over, Brett. We always say we'll wait till the end of the season, but no, I mean I think we're at a fork in the road for this team, and we'll see.
And I'm sure not talking about last week's historic bad weather. I am not, and everybody knows I'm not.
Everybody knows you're not. I mean, that'd be ridiculous. I mean, they were already told not to come to the game, but this team. This is a massive week for this team, and how do they come out of it, and what do we see on Sunday? We'll talk a lot more about it probably throughout the week. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
All 650 acquisition fee. Forte RE722-812, MSRP 21,590. Sorrento PG 242-710, MSRP 33,010. Telluride RG 462822, MSRP 38,705. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2024 with approved credit dealer stock only. Hey, Jeff Allen, Happy New Year, dude. Hey, what's happening over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Let's start the new year off right in your new Kia with 41 MPG Highway 2024 Kia Forte LXS $239 a month, $27.99 due at signing. Got a big family? Get a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX $319 a month, $34.99 due at signing. Plus a 2024 Kia Telluride LX $449 a month, $34.99 due at signing. All 36-month lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
And stop by and see the all-new EV9 all-electric SUV. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMTMoriah.com.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just a new year, it's a new opportunity to bring you more choices, more value, more ways to celebrate your love. So we've expanded our selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds from a half carat to 15 carats. All shapes, all sizes, all at our famous no middleman prices. We've also got lab-grown diamonds of the highest quality at prices way below what you see at other jewelers. We've also brought in even more exclusive designer jewelry, new cutting-edge, fashion-forward rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, things you can't find anywhere else. And of course, Genesis is proud to offer a truly spectacular collection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We have all the most popular models in stock. Is this the year you reward yourself with a premier name and timepieces? Come to Genesis in 2024 and let our non-commissioned experts help you celebrate those important milestones. We guarantee the best value, the highest quality, and the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text JUDGE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 42424. That's JUDGE to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyer's. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyer's?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyer's?
We like the double cheeseburgers.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyer's?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team out and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyer's in Collierville's historic town square.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so...
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned really over the weekend is that Kentucky added another player that could be a difference maker on the court. It's still very early to tell, but after one game, it's very clear to see Big Z, as they're calling him, is a very, very impressive player to watch. Only 16 minutes in his first game after getting eligibility, a Croatian who came over here to play for Kentucky. Memphis was in on him and showed a lot of interest before he ultimately committed to Kentucky. But 16 minutes for him, 5 for 7 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, finished with 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. A lot of fun to watch. This team that Cal has this year, very young, but has a lot of veterans that they can rely on, and looks like a team that could go pretty far in March. And I hate to say this, they're a fun team to watch.
They are a fun team to watch, and they could be around at the end. I could have done without. He really did it. Penny called a timeout. I looked it up with 1:32 to play, trailing by 2 in the offensive end, and drew up a play with Ashton to shoot the ball. They bid on David Jones. They kicked to Ashton. He was wide open, clank. And I know before this weekend's, I'm going to get criticized for criticizing the coach's kids. So here, let me get this straight.
Right.
Can't criticize his kids, and can't dare criticize anybody talking about their health when we know they weren't sick.
Right.
So what can we criticize?
Nothing. That's
it. Thank you. Nothing.
Answer.
That's it.
Well, Brett, what I could have done without is got to be the Tigers now losing 2 games in a row in conference. I don't think, I think when people were looking, they tried to find a game here, a game there that the Tigers would lose in conference, but I don't think that we saw the conference slate starting the way it has after what happened in non-conference. Such a great, promising non-conference run. You go on that stretch where you beat 3 straight top 25 teams back to back to back. In that game against Virginia, it didn't even look like it didn't even look like a game. The Tigers just took care of business. But now, since
best defense they played all year,
it really was, and looks nothing like what we're seeing now. But now, since the start of conference play, and this is not just limited to these 2 losses, this team has not looked like that same team. They've really struggled. They have not looked like a top 10 team at all, and now it's resulted in 2 back-to-back losses. Very important week here. How do they react? How do they respond next Sunday when we're talking about another game on the road against UAB?
Oh, what I learned, poor, sad Buffalo. Now they've got 6 more months of winter, and the tears will freeze for a while. Another wide right. Too cruel for that fan base. I thought Jim Nantz was right in his call. Yeah. He's catching it from their fans for rubbing it in. Look, Scott Norwood, hello yesterday. and for a place that's never won a Super Bowl, never won a Stanley Cup, the NBA smartly pulled out of there in the late 70s. Can you imagine trying to lure a free agent to Buffalo to play in the NBA? Baseball had to play there for the Blue Jays during COVID. Now everybody out. It really is Loserville.
It really is. Another thing, I guess, could have done without, learned today. DePaul has made a coaching change, I guess a firing, I should say. Tony Stubblefield has been fired at DePaul, and really,
what about Josh Pastner for that job?
That's a really good idea, Brett. I wouldn't mind that at all. But Brett, where DePaul has ended up over these last
so bad.
10 years. It's incredible to see. We talk about Louisville, we joke about Louisville, but really DePaul might be in a worse place right now than what Louisville is.
And they've been there a while. Where are you beaming to?
I'm going to beam to the game that's about to start over on ESPN. Wake Forest, North Carolina. I really like this North Carolina team. They're now up to number 3 in the AP polls at home against a Wake Forest team that added a lot in the transfer portal, has been playing well, dropped a couple games, I think, raised people's eyebrows, but this should be a good game starting in just a couple minutes on ESPN.
Beam me to Phoenix. I want anywhere that has sunshine. And Phoenix also, they're trying to get hot at the right time. They've won 5 straight, 7 of 10. And in the 7th spot of the Western Conference, and with a little movement tonight, they could be the 5 seed tomorrow morning. They're going to be formidable.
Yeah, no, they really will be. We've got 15 games in college basketball, 2 on ESPN. I mentioned Wake Forest, North Carolina, Cincinnati, Kansas is the late game.
Of course, Kansas is at home on Monday night in January.
Of course they are. They dropped one over the weekend to West Virginia on the road. We've also got 8 NBA games, including the Grizzlies on the road in Canada against the Toronto Raptors. So it should be a fun night of basketball, a lot to watch. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll do it again tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock.